Chapter 126. The night passed quietly. Han Fei didn't use his special ability to help this team. In fact, even if he used it, he might not be able to catch so many rare creatures. Instead, Han Fei was thinking about how to keep all these rare creatures here. His nine-tailed mantis shrimp was still far from its complete form. After feeding hundreds of rare creatures, the nine-tailed mantis shrimp had only been upgraded from the previous 3 tails to 6. He estimated that if he wanted to refine the nine-tailed mantis shrimp into its complete form, he would need at least 100 rare creatures. In the morning, everyone gathered in the center of the level 1 fishery. Gu Longyu was furious when he saw Han Fei. He pointed at Han Fei and said, "Fatty, don't let me meet you in the 3rd round, or I will beat you to death." Han Fei scratched his belly and tried to look frightened. "Oh, I'm so scared. I didn't offend you. What happened to you? Did the fish run away?" Gu Longyu was about to cry. He left in a hurry last night and didn't check the fish cabin at all. In the morning, he found a few fish bones and a pile of crab shells in it. The village leader landed and stood in front of his team. Han Fei looked at Qin Hai and the others not far away. Many of them seemed to be injured, so he asked, "Leader, what happened to Uncle Qin and the others?" The village leader glanced at Han Fei. They met the Heavenly Heart village and had some conflicts when snatching fish. But you did a good job this time. Wang Baiyu's face changed slightly. 17 people are missing. Leader, could it be? The village leader shook his head. Some people have lost the ability to fight and quit in advance. Han Fei and the others all gasped. 17 people quit in one day? And this was the result of a team led by a peak-level fishing master. Not long after, the mayor in the sky announced. First place, Heavenly Heart Village, 37 rare creatures, including 21 rare creatures in the juvenile group. Han Fei and the others were shocked and Xiaoyu exclaimed, "How can there be so many? How did they do it?" Wang Baiyu said, "I told you that the Heavenly Heart Village is not simple and that Feng Qing is even more powerful." Second place, Heavenly Water Village, 32 rare creatures, including 20 rare creatures in the juvenile group. Qin Hai looked at Han Fei. "Not bad, we fought with them and no one was scared. Unfortunately, we wasted a lot of time." Third place, Heavenly Moon Village, 30 rare creatures, including 10 rare creatures from the juvenile group. Fourth place, Heavenly Fire Village, 28 rare creatures, including 9 rare creatures in the juvenile group. Fifth place, Heavenly Sun Village, 24 rare creatures, including 4 rare creatures in the juvenile group. Eighth place, Heavenly Rain Village, 17 rare creatures, including 4 rare creatures in the juvenile group. Unsurprisingly, the Heavenly Rain Village's ranking had not changed in the past 10,000 years. Similarly, the Heavenly Wind Village and the Heavenly Wood Village were also at the bottom. However, the outstanding performance of the Heavenly Water Village attracted many people's attention. Heavenly Heart Village Juvenile Team. Feng Qing continued, "I heard that the Heavenly Sun Village and the Heavenly Water Village encountered each other. Gu Longyu led twice as many people as the other party but only got 4 rare spiritual fish. It can be seen that the fatty is not simple." Behind Feng Qing, a girl smiled and said, "So what? The second game is our home field. Our team has 2 spirit-chasing shrimps and 1 treasure-digging fish. Can they beat us?" Feng Qing said, "We can't be careless. At least in the second round, we don't need to fight them. I believe that with the Heavenly Sun Village in front, the other villages' juvenile teams will not clash with them." There was almost no rest time between the first and second games. The mayor said, "The second game is extremely dangerous. The 8 village leaders and I will not go underwater to disturb you, nor will we rescue you. I can only tell you to cherish your life." With that, the crowd dispersed again. Wang Baiyu said, "I know a place where there may be some opportunities." Han Fei asked, "Where?" "The land of the fire spring." Hu Kuan added, "I heard that that place is dangerous." Danger and opportunity coexist. The fat on Han Fei's face swayed and he shook his head. "No, we are outnumbered. I know the land of the fire spring you mentioned. It's not a secret. Many people know it. Han Fei and Jiang Qin's training was only in the mixed area of the ordinary fishery and the level 1 fishery in the first week, and then they were all in the level 1 fishery. Han Fei had basically visited all the places in the level 1 fishery and had even drawn a map. The land of the fire spring was just a seabed volcanic crater. In his map, it ranked 6th even after the seabed mine. Han Fei said, "Follow me." They flew for 700 or 800 kilometers before they arrived at the place Han Fei mentioned. Chen Qing said, "Han Fei, replenish our spiritual energy. Otherwise, we will become fish food after entering the sea." Everyone smiled, but then their faces tightened. This was really going into the sea. The mortality rate was extremely high. He Xiaoyu was very nervous. She followed Han Fei closely and said, "You have so much meat on your body. Will you become a prey target?" Han Fei's face darkened. "What are you talking about? Do I look like food to you?" Everyone was silent. "You do look like food. With you here, we feel much more at ease, because we are thin and you are fat." Han Fei took out a map and said, "According to my research, right below us should be the Scorpion Cave." While everyone was still thinking about this name, Xia Wushuang suddenly exclaimed, "Han Fei, are you serious? You took us to the Scorpion Cave in the level 1 fishery?" Hu Kuan and the others widened their eyes. Where? The Scorpion Cave? Is it the legendary Scorpion Cave in the level 1 fishery? He Xiaoyu was frightened. "Can we not go there? Sea scorpions. I've seen them in the town. They are terrible and poisonous. Their tails are very fierce and sting." Han Fei looked at them strangely. "Everyone, we are hunting for treasures. How can treasure hunting not be dangerous? Who told you that this is a dangerous place? It's nonsense." Wang Baiyu looked serious. The Scorpion Cave has been passed down by word of mouth in the level 1 fishery. Some people have explored it. Many great fishing masters have explored the Scorpion Cave, but they found nothing. Han Fei, are you sure there are treasures here? Han Fei smiled. "That's because they found it in the wrong way. The best things in the world are often in the most dangerous places. You can choose to believe me, or you can go to other places to find them. Of course, if you don't mind waiting for me, I can go down alone." Everyone fell silent. "Are you kidding me? If you go to the Scorpion Cave alone, the village leader will kill us." He Xiaoyu asked, "Is there really treasures?" Xiang Nen asked, "Han Fei, although we have a dozen people, it is definitely not enough to break through the Scorpion Cave." Xia Wushuang added, "I think what Han Fei said makes sense. The Scorpion Cave is notorious. I don't think any team will come here to look for opportunities. Maybe there are really treasures here. After all, no one has touched this place for many years." Wang Baiyu took a deep look at Han Fei. "I don't mind. We can try." Han Fei glanced at the crowd. "Is there anyone who doesn't want to go? If you don't want to go, you can stay on the fishing boat, but you won't get the treasures we find." Xiang Nen nodded. "Then let's go. Your lives are valuable. If you are not afraid of death, why should we?" Han Fei said, "Wait a minute. Everyone?" Han Fei said, "Wait for my news here. I'll leave for an hour. I have to make some preparations before I go down." He Xiaoyu asked, "Where are you going?" Han Fei replied, "We really can't break through the Scorpion Cave with our strength. I'm going to attract the monsters." After Han Fei left, Xia Wushuang asked, "Have you noticed that Han Fei is weird now?" Hu Kuan snorted. "He has always been weird." Xia Wushuang frowned. "No, why does Han Fei always give me a mysterious feeling now?" He Xiaoyu replied, "A little bit. He's not as stupid as before." Wang Baiyu shook his head with a smile and muttered, "Was he stupid before? I'm afraid you were the one who was stupid." In fact, Han Fei had long wanted to break through this Scorpion Cave. If there was a Scorpion Cave, there must be a natural enemy. 300 miles away, there was a water ant nest, which was Han Fei's goal. The water ant nest was a very low-level marine creature similar to marching sea leeches, but when attacked or tempted by food, it would also be triggered to march. Little Black easily dealt with the fish, shrimp, insects, and crabs that wanted to make trouble for him. After a while, Han Fei landed on a seabed full of caves. With a flash of spiritual energy in his hand, Han Fei threw out wisps of spiritual energy. After a while, the bed was covered with palm-sized water ants. Seeing that the effect was almost there, Han Fei immediately increased the output. When Han Fei farmed, he would always throw a mass of spiritual energy into the ground and control the horizontal detonation force. Then the land would be fertilized. At this moment, there was a sudden riot on the seabed. The spiritual energy was detonating and dense water ants crawled out of the caves, seeming to be looking for creatures that attacked them. Han Fei hurriedly swam away and fertilized the nest several times until a layer of black ants crawled on the seabed and bit at him. Read 2. Chapter 127. More than half an hour later, Han Fei had returned to the scorpion cave. Without thinking, he threw out several large masses of spiritual energy violently in succession. Bubbles appeared on the surface of the water from time to time. Xia Wushuang asked, "What happened underwater?" Wang Baiyu asked, "Something seems to have collapsed." Pooh! Suddenly, a figure jumped onto the boat from the bottom of the water, gasping for breath. Han Fei was exhausted after swimming 300 kilometers in one breath. Di Xiaoyu's eyes widened. "Han Fei, why did you come out of the water?" "Don't ask. Everyone, go into the water." Everyone was taken aback and immediately followed Han Fei into the water. A few minutes later, Di Xiaoyu and the others were about to run away. What did they see? Thousands of dense water ants were biting the sea scorpions. Their corpses were almost all over the bottom of the sea, and ant shells were scattered everywhere. Everyone saw that Han Fei was transmitting spiritual energy into the scorpion cave from time to time. In just a few minutes, the ground shook several times and sea scorpions popped up from time to time. Some timid people had already secretly swam back. Xia Wushuang and the others widened their eyes. "Did you just attract the water ants? How did this guy survive?" Han Fei waved to the others and pointed at Xia Wushuang and his human-faced crab. Only then did Xia Wushuang realize what was going on. He immediately created a small illusion around them to hide their faces. Han Fei made a fighting gesture to the others, and everyone's heart tightened. Are we really going to fight the sea scorpions? But now, not only were there sea scorpions, there were also countless water ants. With a smile, Han Fei snapped his fingers, and a 4-meter-long large mantis shrimp appeared. Damn, everyone's eyes widened. Han Fei actually has a contractual spiritual beast? Or a mantis shrimp? The 9-tailed mantis shrimp drilled into the ground, swept its tail, and a sea scorpion was swept into several pieces. Everyone was dumbfounded. Han Fei was going into the scorpion cave. For a moment, everyone hesitated. Should I follow him or not? While they were hesitating, Xiaoyu swam down first and followed Han Fei into the cave. Xia Wushuang, Xiang Nan, and the others looked at each other and followed him, but some people simply swam back to the sea. What a joke! Hu Kun looked up and down. There were already 5 people swimming back. He gritted his teeth. He wasn't going to follow. He wasn't going to risk his life like this. The 9-tailed mantis shrimp was digging a hole. In fact, this hole was very easy to dig. It had been riddled with holes by the sea scorpions, and at this moment, the 9-tailed mantis shrimp could punch through the hole easily. Suddenly, he felt that someone was patting him from behind. Looking back, Wang Baiyu wrote on Han Fei's hand, "Poisonous." "Don't worry." The 2 big insects flew out at the same time. "Run!" Han Fei waved at Xiaoyu and the others, opened his mouth, and a string of bubbles popped out. Xia Wushuang pulled Xiaoyu and hurriedly retreated. Xiang Nan, Chen Qing, and Jia Tong were pale. As the purple-tailed scorpion king hissed, a large number of scorpions crawled in. They were clearing the way and the cave was full of broken armor. Han Fei raised the rod in his hand, activated all his skills, and shouted, "Fuse!" At this time, Han Fei didn't care about suppressing his realm. Jiang Qin had trained him for half a year. Although she had been teaching him combat skills, Even Jiang Qin herself didn't know that Han Fei had spent nearly 300,000 points of spiritual energy to break through to a peak-level fishing master. At this moment, a man, a scorpion, and a shrimp were fighting. Read 2. Chapter 128. On the surface. Xia Wushuang carried Wang Baiyu and jumped onto the boat. Xiang Nan, Qin Qing, Jia Tong, and He Xiaoyu jumped out of the sea one after another, but they were all covered with wounds and He Xiaoyu's hair was messy. Xiang Nan was the most seriously injured. He was the best fighter and almost killed half of the purple-tailed scorpions. Xiang Nan had more than 50 wounds all over his body. I'm poisoned. Does anyone have an antidote? Qin Qing lay directly on the deck, his face purple. Who would have thought of bringing an antidote? He Xiaoyu frowned. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Jia Tong saw that He Xiaoyu's arms, thighs, and lower abdomen were all pierced and the injuries looked quite serious. Hu Kuan and the others immediately gathered around. Seeing this scene, they were all shocked and gasped. Hiss, what happened to Wang Baiyu? Xia Wushuang replied. He was exhausted and seriously injured. Fortunately, he's fine. Then Xia Wushuang looked at He Xiaoyu. Where is Han Fei? He Xiaoyu said in a sobbing tone, I don't know. He seems to be fighting with the big scorpion. Xia Wushuang quickly took out a bottle of pills and said, Stop the bleeding and heal your wounds first. Hu Kuan and the others stared at each other, but then they saw the cluster of hundreds of exotic poisonous fruits in He Xiaoyu's hand. Hu Kuan asked, He Xiaoyu, what are you holding in your hand? Spiritual fruits? Hu Kuan and the others secretly took a breath. What happened to them? Why did they dig up a fruit tree? Oh, God, there are hundreds of spiritual fruits? Are they crazy? Even though He Xiaoyu was injured, she gritted her teeth and said, Don't come over. We found them. It has nothing to do with you. He Xiaoyu was not a fool. What Han Fei threw over must be very important. Although she didn't know what these fruits were, as long as they were spiritual fruits on the seabed, they were all valuable. Every one of them was priceless. Hu Kuan couldn't take it even if he wanted to. Hu Kuan and the others were too embarrassed to take it, but the cluster of spiritual fruits looked too tempting. Hu Kuan even had a crazy idea. Now they were all injured. If I killed them all, wouldn't these spiritual fruits be mine? But Hu Kuan hesitated. He wondered if someone was watching them from the sky. Xiang Nan panted heavily. Motherfucker, Hu Kuan, you bunch of bastards. How dare you run away? Someone immediately retorted, We have the right not to go. Look at you, all of you are injured. Wang Baiyu is seriously injured and Han Fei can't come up. You asked for it. Another person said, That's right. Even if there are treasures, they are not as valuable as one's life. Jia Tong said, Motherfucker, if it weren't for the fact that I can't get up right now, I would have killed you with one slap. Qin Qing said, If you had gone down there, the scene would have been completely different. The two groups of people were furious. Xia Wushuang was the one who was the least injured, and he was standing in front of the others. Looking at the spiritual fruits in He Xiaoyu's hand and the greedy eyes of Hu Kuan and the others, he raised his rod and said, You'd better not try anything funny. None of you is a match for me. At least 3 of you will die if we fight. After a while, Jia Tong asked, Xiang Nan, are you okay? Xiang Nan said, I'm falling asleep. This poison is quite strong. Qin Qing said, Damn, it's still a long time before the end of the game. Unless we quit, I'm afraid we won't survive. Hu Kuan said, Anyway, we got so many spiritual fruits. We're sure to win. If we quit, we'll quit. He Xiaoyu had been crying for a long time. Although her face was blue and purple, she still looked at the water and was almost desperate. That big scorpion was too horrible. She had no hope. Seeing that they were getting weaker and weaker, Hu Kuan suddenly said, He Xiaoyu, give me the spiritual fruits. Hu Kuan's eyes were crazy. It had been so long and Han Fei probably couldn't come up. This was their only chance. At this moment, only Xia Wushuang could fight, but could he resist 6 people alone? Xia Wushuang shouted, Hu Kuan, don't court death. If you dare to snatch it, I won't kill anyone but you. Hu Kuan shouted, Kill me? Xia Wushuang, are you also poisoned? There are no less than 8 wounds on your body. I admit that you can easily beat us in your heyday, but how much of your strength can you use now? Hukuan said to the others, Guys, don't forget that everything we get in the resource competition belongs to us. Xia Wushuang roared, Fuse. Hukuan, I'm going to fucking kill you today. In the fishing trial, Xia Wushuang was in the limelight. If it weren't for Han Fei, Wang Baiyu wouldn't have been able to get the 3rd place. It could be said that among all the people here, he was the strongest. He had to take the initiative and couldn't delay any longer. If he delayed any longer, he might not be able to fight anymore. Clang! Hukuan was directly smashed into the air and roared, What are you looking at? They've already started the fight. Why are you still looking? We didn't go down. Even if the game is over, we'll be despised by them forever. Their faces changed slightly. Let's do it. Go! Clang, clang. For a time, a fierce battle broke out on the fishing boat. Xia Wushuang was really brave, waving his sledgehammer, and no one dared to approach him. Jia Tong still wanted to get up, but before he could stand firm, he fell down again. He could only breathe heavily and said to Xia Wushuang, Take He Xiaoyu away. Don't worry about us. Hukuan was anxious. Don't let them go. If they leave, the matter will be exposed. Xia Wushuang was beaten back step by step. He had been hit countless times and blood was flowing out of his mouth. He was helpless. I want to go. But I can't. What they didn't know was that on the sea dozens of kilometers away, a fat figure suddenly jumped out of the sea. Han Fei was panting, but his tired body couldn't hide his excitement. This trip was really worth it. The level 28 purple-tailed scorpion king made the 9-tailed mantis shrimp grow its 7th tail and increase its level by 1. Han Fei released the 9-tailed mantis shrimp and patted its shell. Let's go back. Then Han Fei grabbed the tail of the 9-tailed mantis shrimp, compared it with the other tails, and nodded with satisfaction. Not bad, a king-level rare creature is worth dozens of ordinary rare creatures. Let's go back. This was not the fiercest battle Han Fei had experienced in the past 6 months, but different from the battle with Jiang Qin, this was a life-and-death battle. He knew very well the strength of the 9-tailed mantis shrimp. Even the most ordinary palm-sized mantis shrimp could punch at a speed of 1/10,000th of a second, and the strength of a single punch was as high as 60 kilograms. Now the 9-tailed mantis shrimp was so powerful that even the level 28 purple-tailed scorpion king couldn't resist it at all. It must be at least 6,000 kilograms. While thinking, Han Fei quickly gathered. If he guessed right, someone must have been injured. But it should be no problem for them to escape, because all the sea scorpions were coming for him. Who's fighting? Han Fei's face suddenly changed and he ran at full speed. Xia Wushuang was lying on the ground, covered with blood. He couldn't move anymore. He had killed 3 enemies by himself. At this moment, Hukuan was also seriously injured, and the other 2 were lying unconscious on the ground. However, 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. No matter how talented he was and how strong he was, he still couldn't withstand the crowd tactic. Hukuan dragged his body and walked towards He Xiaoyu. Hand over the spiritual fruits. He Xiaoyu hugged him tightly. No way. I'd rather throw them away than give them to you. Hukuan laughed ferociously. Try throwing them away. If you do, I won't feel guilty for taking them. He Xiaoyu shouted. Hukuan, Grandpa Leader will beat you to death. Hukuan laughed again. Once you enter the 2nd round, only the mayor can find out everything. The village leader can't find out anything at all. However, the mayor may care about the battles between villages, but he won't care about the battles within the same village. Hukuan stepped forward and grabbed He Xiaoyu's hand, extremely excited. If he had these hundreds of spiritual fruits, he would soon become a great fishing master. Not only that, but he might even become a dangling fisher soon. Anyway, he had made a fortune. Bastard, let go of me. At this moment, a hand grabbed Hukuan's foot. Hukuan looked down, only to see that it was Xiang Nan who had passed out. Ha! Look at you, you're not even as strong as a level 2 fisher. Forget it, you'll die sooner or later. I'll send you to hell first. Puff! With that, Hukuan stabbed Xiang Nan's back. He Xiaoyu burst into tears. Xiang Nan. Jia Tong shouted, Hu Kuan, damn you, I'm going to kill you. Hu Kuan almost went crazy. Haha, what are you going to do? Go to hell. With that, Hu Kuan's rod flashed with spiritual energy. But at the moment when Hu Kuan was about to swing the rod, two cold lights shot at him from 100 meters away. Puff! Before Hu Kuan had time to react, he was directly nailed to the deck by two knives. The next moment, under everyone's shocked gaze, a fat body stepped on the air and came over. A fishing master who was about to attack was still in shock when he was knocked over by a rod. His whole body smashed the deck and his chest was dripping with blood. Xia Wushuang shouted, Damn, you brat. Didn't die. Jia Tong was overjoyed. Han Fei, don't let any of them go. Hu Kuan was horrified. How could Han Fei come back? How could this be? He Xiaoyu and the others were desperate just now. He Xiaoyu burst into tears. Hu Kuan roared, Kill him or we'll all die. Read 2. Chapter 129. Han Fei waved his hand and the nine-tailed mantis shrimp stood in front of Xia Wushuang and the others. Don't move. I'll only kill the person who gave me the order. If you move, I'll kill you. The two people who were still standing were horrified. Their initial desire to make a move disappeared immediately. This mantis shrimp did not look like an ordinary contractual spiritual beast at all. Even if it was an ordinary mantis shrimp, they might not be able to defeat it. Han Fei glanced at the two of them. Very good. Then with a flash of spiritual energy, Han Fei stepped on Hu Kuan's stomach. Han Fei squatted down and patted Hu Kuan's face. Is there a grudge between us? I've long forgotten it, but you still remember it. Do you want to kill a fishing master from the same village? I won't kill you. I'll take you back to the Heavenly Water Village. Think about how you'll be cursed by hundreds of thousands of people. Everyone's face trembled. Hu Kuan was so easily destroyed by Han Fei that he couldn't recultivate. This was worse than killing him. Hu Kuan's eyes were bloodshot and he shouted with strong hatred, Han Fei? Kill me, smack, you want to die? It's too late. Hu Kuan was knocked out with a slap. Han Fei murmured, Damn it. Han Fei looked back at Xia Wushuang whose nose was swollen. Why don't you eat the spiritual fruit? Xia Wushuang stammered, No. I don't know. Han Fei hurriedly took the exotic poisonous fruit and picked one for each of them. This is called exotic poisonous fruit. After taking it, you will be immune to mortal-level poisons. Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. Jia Tong tried to open his eyes. Come on, let's find a way to save Xiang Nan first. Han Fei's face changed slightly, only to see Xiang Nan's blood flowing all over the ground. At that moment, Han Fei really wanted to turn around and kill Hu Kuan, but he thought it would be too easy to kill him. Han Fei injected spiritual energy into Xiang Nan's body, but this guy didn't respond at all. He just opened his eyes slightly and smiled with difficulty, but his breathing became weaker and weaker. In the end, Han Fei sighed and took out the mutant purple-tailed scorpion's egg. Sign the contract. He knew that contractual spiritual beasts and their masters seemed to share life. But many people's contractual spiritual beasts died, but their masters didn't, so he wasn't sure. Han Fei said seriously, Xiang Nan, sign the contract with this mutant purple-tailed scorpion egg, hurry up. Han Fei grabbed Xiang Nan's hand and put it on the mutant purple-tailed scorpion's egg. It's up to you whether you can survive or not. Xiang Nan's mouth was full of bloody foam. He struggled to mumble something, but it was hard to hear clearly. Anyway, he could see the blood on the ground and on his hands flowing into the scorpion egg. A moment later, a thorn pierced the scorpion egg, and a small purple scorpion hatched. Xiang Nan smiled faintly when he saw this. Then he fainted. Xia Wushuang said, South. Jia Tong said, What the fuck? You've already signed the contract. Why do you still want to die? Han Fei said quickly, He's not dead. He just passed out. His wounds are recovering. It was not until half an hour later that the wounds on Xiang Nan's body gradually healed. Han Fei shook his head slightly. Contractual spiritual beasts do have some vitality and even recovery abilities, but not much. Xiang Nan's wounds have only recovered, but his injuries are still very serious. Xia Wushuang added, I still have some healing pills on me. Give them all to him. After doing all this, Han Fei looked at the others. Han Fei squatted beside He Xiaoyu, frowned at the wounds on He Xiaoyu's body, and said softly, I'll find someone to treat you when we go back to the village. There won't be any scars. He Xiaoyu hugged Han Fei. Ooh, I thought you were dead. Ooh, Han Fei smiled. In the level 1 fishery, nothing can kill me as long as I don't want to die. Then Han Fei injected spiritual energy into He Xiaoyu's body. The little girl's body shook and her complexion improved a lot. Han Fei injected spiritual energy into everyone's body and looked at Wang Baiyu. Are you seriously injured? Xia Wushuang explained. He took a blow from the big scorpion and his shield was broken. I'm afraid he'll have to rest for at least a month. Han Fei nodded seriously. I owe him a favor. Xia Wushuang added, you also owe me a favor. Han Fei nodded. I also owe you one. Xia Wushuang chuckled. It's worth it. Han Fei scratched his belly, got up, and turned to look at the two people on the opposite side. In the resource competition, you attacked your companions. I can kill you at any time. But since it's not easy for you to cultivate, I'll give you a chance. In the third round, each of you will kill one person. If you can't, you'll end up like him. Han Fei pointed to Hu Kuan on the deck. It was not that Han Fei didn't want to kill them, but that two people on his side had been crippled. To be precise, Xia Wushuang was not much better. If he killed these two people, would he have to fight all of them alone in the third round? Chen Qing had just regained some strength to get up. Damn, they got away with it. Jia Tong scoffed, oh, we should have killed them all. Cough. Wang Baiyu opened his eyes. You're back? It's okay. Go back to sleep. Wang Baiyu didn't care anymore. He felt that he was about to fall apart. As soon as he closed his eyes, he immediately fell asleep and snored slightly. Everyone, Han Fei looked at the crowd and shook his head slightly. Although there was still a lot of time, this treasure hunt was probably over. Half an hour later, everyone finally recovered a little. Jia Tong got up and kicked Hu Kuan. Asshole, how can there be such a bastard in our village? Chen Qing said, don't hit him. If you keep hitting him, he will die. Forget it, he will be like this for the rest of his life. It's even more pitiful than death. Han Fei scratched his belly and said, okay, calm down. Let's share this exotic poisonous fruit equally. Chen Qing protested, no, you brought it back alone. We have all eaten it just now, Jia Tong added. Yes, we can at most beat the small scorpions. That big scorpion. Everyone was a little scared. Wang Baiyu was already a strong armorist. He was the one with the strongest defense, but he was almost killed by the scorpion. Han Fei asked, why do I need so many fruits? Although this is also a spiritual fruit, it is not a fruit to improve strength. Let's share it and give it to those who need it. Anyway, each of us only needs to eat one. It's useless to eat more. Everyone's face changed, but in the end, they didn't object. This was a spiritual fruit. There was no reason to object, okay? He Xiaoyu said, I want to eat hot pot. Everyone? He Xiaoyu said, I'm not happy. I want to eat hot pot. Han Fei was speechless. But when we go back to the village, I'll give you a card. You can eat there every day. He Xiaoyu was overjoyed. Really? Han Fei said helplessly, it's as if I have charged you for barbecue and hot pot. Forget it, you can eat it when you are better. Suddenly He Xiaoyu pointed to Xiang Nan and said, he's awake, Xiang Nan is awake. Han Fei quickly looked back. How is he? Xiang Nan said with difficulty. Shit. This contractual spiritual beast? Han Fei said leisurely, oh. This is just a mutant purple-tailed scorpion egg. It should be more advanced than a rare creature. Xia Wushuang and the others next to him were shocked. Xia Wushuang was dumbfounded. No, Han Fei. What do you think this is? Han Fei said, a mutant purple-tailed scorpion egg. Everyone gasped and looked at Xiang Nan. No, it's not a rare creature? I don't think so. This little guy is no longer a purple-tailed scorpion. Its whole body is purple, so it should be more advanced. Xiang Nan was shocked himself. Han Fei, what about you? Han Fei pointed to the nine-tailed mantis shrimp with a smile. I have one. What should I do? In fact, Han Fei thought to himself, exotic creatures. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack to encounter an exotic creature in the level 1 fishery. Don't I feel bad? Of course I feel bad. I'm trying to save people. Only then did everyone notice the nine-tailed mantis shrimp who was still staring at the other two fishing masters. They were all speechless. Xia Wushuang asked, how can a mantis shrimp have a tail? Is this one also a mutant one? Han Fei nodded. Xia Wushuang swallowed. Did you get it from the mantis shrimp cave? Han Fei thought for a while. Sort of. Xia Wushuang took a deep breath. Damn, it's true that the more dangerous the place is, the more valuable it is. Didn't you find nothing in the scorpion cave? 2 hours later, Wang Baiyu woke up and heard the news. It's an exotic creature. He Xiaoyu asked, what is an exotic creature? Wang Baiyu said enviously, I heard that all exotic creatures are exotic creatures. They are very strong, much stronger than rare creatures. He Xiaoyu's eyes widened. Why don't we know that? Wang Baiyu tried to roll his eyes. You'll know it when you read more books. Above exotic creatures, there seem to be legendary creatures, which were once popular and extremely powerful. Han Fei couldn't help but be surprised. Legendary? Isn't it a legend? Wang Baiyu wanted to grin, but he frowned in pain. You said it's a legend. How can legendary creatures really appear? Han Fei nodded. It turned out that legendary creatures were not at the same level. At this time, everyone looked at Xiang Nan enviously. What a lucky guy! Xiang Nan smiled with difficulty and summoned the mutant purple-tailed scorpion. Han Fei, I owe you a big favor. Han Fei shook his head slightly. Forget it. It's just an exotic creature. I'll meet it in the future anyway. He Xiaoyu said, let me touch it. Han Fei's face changed. Stop, I forgot to tell you that this thing is poisonous, the very poisonous kind. He Xiaoyu, huh? Han Fei said leisurely, not only is it poisonous, but Xiang Nan is also poisonous now. That is to say, unless Xiang Nan puts it away, he will be poisonous now. Xiang Nan, read 2. Chapter 130. Everyone was injured and Han Fei didn't want to continue treasure hunting. After all, he had gained a lot in the Scorpion Cave. Of course, the price was not small. The people on the boat were either injured or betrayed. At this moment, they had no combat power. A day later, the toxins in their bodies had completely disappeared and their injuries had been greatly relieved. At this moment, they were sitting in a circle on the deck. He saw that a shelf had been set up on the deck, and there was also a pot. The few of them were eating until their mouths were full of oil. Han Fei frowned. He Xiaoyu, tell Little Red to turn down the fire. The water is going to be boiled dry. He Xiaoyu grabbed Little Red, who was acting as a flame at the bottom of the pot, and stuffed a large piece of mushroom into her mouth. Han Fei, why do you still have pots and low-level spiritual fruits on your boat? Han Fei said matter-of-factly, I always have to eat when I go to sea. Xia Wushuang clicked his tongue. Han Fei, your cooking is so good. By the way, can you give me some of these low-level spiritual fruits? I can cook them myself if I have nothing to do. Then why don't you go to the hot pot restaurant of the fish dragons to learn? Xia Wushuang smiled awkwardly. Forget it. Although the hot pot is delicious, I don't think I have the time to cook for myself. Xiang Nan had recovered a lot and could barely move his chopsticks now. I heard that a meal in the Fish Dragon's hot pot restaurant costs dozens of mid-quality pearls. Can't you make it cheaper? Han Fei replied, I've already sold them at the cost price. Otherwise, do you think these low-level spiritual fruits will be so cheap? Wang Baiyu's face was still pale at the moment, but the red oil stain on his mouth betrayed him. Ordinary people can't afford it in our village, but it's different in the town. Dozens of mid-quality pearls. Most people can afford it. Han Fei nodded. Okay, I'll open a restaurant in the town. Hey, do you still want mushrooms? He Xiaoyu nodded. Jia Tong added, add more. Qin Qing asked, do you still have yellow balls? Han Fei replied, that's called potatoes. It's easy to remember. Then Han Fei ran to the cabin and fished them out. In fact, he had fished them out of Forge the Universe. At this moment, half of the 60 square meters of land in Forge the Universe was planted by him. On the other side, the few people, including those who had already woken up, all swallowed their saliva. It was really uncomfortable to watch others eat, and the key was that the taste was so tempting. As for Hu Kun, he had long since woken up, but his eyes were lifeless, as if he was indifferent to anything. It was as if he had become an idiot. At this moment, fishing boats flew over from the sky one after another. The first to arrive were Fong Qing and the others from the Heavenly Heart Village, followed by the Heavenly Fire, Heavenly Sun, and Heavenly Wood villages. Everyone was stunned when they saw them. Didn't they go treasure hunting? Had he given up on himself? Why is he cooking on the sea? Han Fei saw a fishing boat from the Heavenly Wood village approaching, and a chubby girl craned her head. Hey, people of the Heavenly Water village, didn't you go treasure hunting? He Xiaoyu pouted. We've been back for a long time. Miao Mumu, you're drooling. Do you want some? Miao Mumu's eyes lit up and she looked at Han Fei. May I? Not bad. But you can come alone. Otherwise, we won't have enough to eat. As soon as Han Fei said so, Miao Mumu jumped over, sniffed with her little nose, and her eyes lit up. Wow, it smells so good. Then I'll eat it. Miao Mumu was purely here to freeload, so she didn't ask what happened to Hu Kun and the others. After a while, Xia Wushuang shouted to a girl who had just landed on the water, Yun Qian, do you want some hot pot? Yun Qian was the captain of the juvenile team of the Heavenly Rain Village. Hearing Xia Wushuang's call, she came over helplessly. Are you really here for treasure hunting? Miao Mumu, why are you here too? Miao Mumu had never eaten such delicious food. She had no time to respond to Yun Qian at this moment and just hummed in agreement. Everyone made way for Yun Qian. This girl looked a little cold, but when she took the first bite of the mushroom slice, her expression changed countless times. Xia Wushuang asked, how is it? Is it delicious? Yun Qian asked, what is this? It can be called a delicious food. Xia Wushuang nodded. Come to our Heavenly Water Village to play. I'll take you there. Han Fei nudged He Xiaoyu. Are they familiar with each other? He Xiaoyu replied, not really. I have a good relationship with Miao Mumu, and Xia Wushuang and Yun Qian get along well. Otherwise, they will always bully us in the town. He Xiaoyu pointed to the Heavenly Sun Village and the Heavenly Moon Village. At this moment, the captains of these villages were all speechless. Aren't you guys going too far? Are you serious about this competition? On the Heavenly Heart Village's side, Fong Qing secretly swallowed and asked a girl next to her, do you think I should join in the fun? It looks delicious. But we don't know He Xiaoyu well. Fong Qing nodded. Well, forget it. You can contact He Xiaoyu in the town in the future. He seems to have a special relationship with that fatty. On the Heavenly Sun Village's side, Gu Longyu narrowed his eyes. There seems to be an internal fight in the Heavenly Water Village. A guy was nailed to the boat. A group of people ate, and the rest stood aside and didn't dare to move. Heavenly Moon Village. Shen Tong said, avoid that fatty in the third round. There is an internal fight, but he still has the mood to eat and doesn't look nervous at all. He should be a big shot. After a while, the mayor led the 8 village leaders to appear in the sky. The mayor's face didn't seem to be very good. Han Fei and the others had already come back. They had already eaten this hot pot 3 times, and he almost drooled. Just now, he threatened the village leader of the Heavenly Water Village to tell him the ingredient recipe. But now, old Zhao of the Heavenly Water Village was obviously not very good. There was a traitor in his village, which was simply a shame. The mayor shouted, guys from the Heavenly Water Village, stop eating. The second round is over. Take out your stuff. Han Fei put the pot into the cabin and He Xiaoyu whispered, let's eat later. Miao Mumu asked, can I come back later? He Xiaoyu nodded. Yes. After a while, everyone was in position. All the team leaders gathered together. The items of the adult team of the Heavenly Heart Village were placed on the bow, and the captain shouted, Heavenly Heart Village obtained 6 rare creatures, 12 ghost beads, 1 sea iron tree, 1 iron tree spiritual fruit, and 1 stone spirit crab, the guardian demonic beast of the iron tree. Many people's expressions changed. Obtaining the sea iron tree wasn't a big deal, but obtaining the iron tree spirit fruit would definitely require a battle with the guardian demonic beast. That was no simple matter. But thinking about it, it wasn't a big problem. The Heavenly Heart Village was powerful. Then Fong Qing from the juvenile group of the Heavenly Heart Village shouted, "The juvenile group of the Heavenly Heart Village has obtained 3 rare spiritual fish, 1 water spiritual wood and 1 red sea cucumber." Red sea cucumber? The faces of many people in the other villages darkened. This thing was a treasure of any fishery. After taking it, not only could the body be strengthened in all aspects, but it also contained powerful spiritual energy, which could increase the success rate of a fishing master breaking through to a great fishing master by at least 10%. In the sky, the village leader of the Heavenly Water Village smiled and said, "Ha, not bad." The other village chiefs snorted. "What are you showing off for? Isn't it just because your Heavenly Heart Village occupies a good position? Perhaps this red sea cucumber was placed here by you in advance." Below, Wang Baiyu said in a low voice, "They are indeed very strong. If it were in the previous years, they would have won the first place." Xia Wushuang chuckled. "Only 1 spirit fruit." The people of the Heavenly Water Village were extremely relaxed, but the other villages were different. The Heavenly Fire, Heavenly Moon, and Heavenly Sun villages all turned pale. And the Heavenly Wood, Heavenly Rain, and Heavenly Wind villages didn't care. Anyway, they knew they couldn't compete with them. Then, the Heavenly Sun village showed. Adult group, 7 rare spiritual fish, 1 black iron stone, 1 bamboo stick, 1 bamboo fruit, 1 guardian creature mutated big-headed prawn. Juvenile group, 4 rare creatures, 1 armored turtle cub, 1 sapphire. Heavenly Moon Village, Heavenly Fire Village, Heavenly Wind Village, Heavenly Rain Village, Heavenly Wood Village, until the Heavenly Water Village. Qin Hai shouted with a black face. The Heavenly Heart Village has obtained 5 rare creatures, 6 ghost beads, 3 sapphire, 1 dark iron stone. Qin Hai was speechless. This time, they and the Heavenly Moon Village found the same treasure land, but they lost 2 fishing masters in the first contact. In order to preserve their strength, Qin Hai could only take them away. Who knew that after leaving, they couldn't find a second treasure land? All of them were occupied by other villages. In desperation, he could only take them to the seabed mine, trying to dig out precious gems, but obviously, they didn't find anything good. "Ha!" someone joked. "Qin Hai, did you go to mine?" Heavenly Moon Village. "Oh, you wanted to compete with us for the treasure land but were defeated. Now you have nowhere to go, right?" Even the juvenile group was ridiculing them. Gu Longyu asked, "Fatty, did you go to mine? What did you find?" Read 2. Chapter 131. Wei Hua from the Heavenly Fire Village interjected, "Gu Longyu, don't say that. They haven't left. They're eating." Shen Tong from the Heavenly Moon Village interjected, "Humph. The Heavenly Water Village doesn't even need to exist anymore." At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Han Fei's face. Han Fei scratched his belly, muttered a few words, and then took out a cluster of small trees, which were densely covered with thumb-sized fruits. In an instant, the whole place became quiet, and only the sound of the sea breeze could be heard. The village leader, who had been desperate, suddenly had a gleam in his eyes. Spiritual fruit? Han Fei counted carefully, 1, 2, 3, 100, 101, 108. Han Fei waved his paw. "I didn't go to mine. I went to dig the ground. Well, I only dug 108 exotic poisonous fruits in total. Hey, why are you all looking at me? Why aren't you guys chatting anymore?" Everyone's throat was stuck as if they had eaten a little white shrimp. Suddenly, Wei Hua from the Heavenly Fire Village said, "What exotic poisonous fruit? I've never heard of it. This fruit doesn't even have a fragrance. Is it an ordinary fruit? How can it be regarded as a spiritual fruit?" He Xiaoyu immediately jumped out. "You are an ordinary fruit. This is an exotic poisonous fruit. After taking it, you will be immune to any mortal level poison. Wow, Qin Hai was stunned. What the hell? How could someone dig up more than 100 fruits at a time? If it could really be immune to poison, wouldn't it be more valuable than ordinary spiritual fruits? Impossible. How can anyone get so many spiritual fruits at once? Every spirit fruit had a guardian spirit. With so many spirit fruits, just how powerful would the guardian spirit be? You cheated. In the Heavenly Sun Village, Gu Longyu's face was dark. He didn't believe that Han Fei could get so many spiritual fruits. There must be something wrong. Before Han Fei spoke, Xiaoyu pointed to Gu Longyu and said, "You're slandering us. We not only got spiritual fruits, but we also caught a mutant purple-tailed scorpion." What did you say? What did you say? The village leader had no time to think and landed directly. Where is it? Let me see. With a flash of spiritual energy in Xiang Nan's hand, a palm-sized purple scorpion appeared in front of everyone. The faces of the youth squad leaders of the various villages changed. Variant creatures? Wasn't that much stronger than rare creatures? The Heavenly Heart Village's village chief's expression changed drastically. You went to the Scorpion Cave? Many people's hearts trembled. Dangerous Scorpion Cave? Only a dozen people from the Heavenly Water Village went to the Scorpion Cave? Can't I go? It's just a bunch of bugs. What's there to be afraid of? A group of bugs. Everyone was speechless. You really know how to talk. Who here dared to say that there was only a group of insects in the Scorpion Cave? Han Fei turned around and scolded Xiaoyu. Don't expose good things, just like don't expose your wealth. Xiaoyu said, Xiang Nan is not afraid, right? Xiang Nan. Xiang Nan was speechless. I'm not scared. Do you think I'm an ironhead fish? I'm so panicked that I don't dare to come to the level 1 fishery anymore. Since Han Fei took out the exotic poisonous fruit, there was no need to compete anymore. How could they compete? More than 100 spiritual fruits. Even the other 7 villages combined couldn't compare. Han Fei looked at Gu Longyu with a smile. Oh, I'm going to try mining next time. What if I dig up something amazing? Gu Longyu snorted coldly. Look at your team members. Some are injured, some are disabled, and some are traitors. So what if you win the second game? Han Fei continued to scratch his belly and smacked his lips. I alone am enough to beat you, bastard. Gu Longyu's face turned purple with anger, and the others were stunned. This fatty is so arrogant. Especially the girls. Fang Qing of the Heavenly Heart Village narrowed her eyes. Miao Mumu of the Heavenly Wood Village and Yun Qian of the Heavenly Rain Village all looked at Han Fei strangely, thinking that this guy should be the first person in their weak villages to be so arrogant in recent years. After the fishing and treasure hunting competitions, the third round was the actual combat. After all, it was impossible to survive on this ocean without strength. The Heavenly Heart Village was the closest to the level 1 fishery. The other villages surrounded the level 1 fishery, but they were also far away from it. The competition was held in the Heavenly Heart Village. When hundreds of fishing boats arrived at the Heavenly Heart Village at the same time, they found that there was already a sea of people here. Han Fei took a slight breath. No wonder it ranked first. The floating island of the Heavenly Heart Village was scattered with high mountains, flowing water, and waterfalls, and its area was much larger than that of the Heavenly Water Village. Looking at Han Fei's surprised expression, Xiaoyu poked him. It's just a little better than our village. When you go to the town, you will find that the town is dozens of times larger than here. Puff, how much larger? Han Fei was speechless. An island floating in the sky. He thought the Heavenly Water Village was very big. When he saw the Heavenly Heart Village, he felt it was beautiful and big, but Xiaoyu said the town was dozens of times larger. Xia Wushuang smiled. It's nothing to be surprised about. Do you see that waterfall? It is said that every outsider who comes to the Heavenly Heart Village will challenge that waterfall. I guess we have to go too. Han Fei asked, what's so good about the waterfall? Wang Baiyu added, jump down. What? The Heavenly Heart Village advocates bravery. They take jumping down the waterfall as a challenge. We are all injured now. They won't let go of this opportunity. Han Fei glanced at them. Can't you escape with your injuries? Just don't go. Wang Baiyu added, "Of course we don't go, but we will be laughed at, so what do you think?" Sure enough, as soon as the fishing boat stopped, Fang Qing walked past the villages one by one. When she saw Han Fei, Fang Qing smiled and said, "Han Fei, guests of the Heavenly Heart Village, our Heavenly Heart Village specially invites you to participate in the hero's adventure. I wonder if you can do us the honor?" Han Fei shook his head. "No." Fang Qing was stunned. "Why did you refuse so directly? Don't you care about the face of the village?" He Xiaoyu tugged at Han Fei. "Go. In fact, it will be fine." Han Fei replied, "No. Han Fei, no one who comes to our Heavenly Heart Village will refuse the hero's adventure, which can prove your bravery and fearlessness. Little girl, you are making enemies, do you know that?" Fang Qing looked embarrassed. She finally knew why Gu Longyu and the others didn't like Han Fei. This person was so arrogant. What did he mean by, "I am making enemies"? And he said it so confidently. However, Fang Qing couldn't say anything. After all, it was his own business whether to challenge others or not. "Coward!" Wei Hua snorted coldly when he passed by Han Fei. "Coward!" Gu Longyu also sneered when he passed by Han Fei. When everyone had left, Xia Wushuang said, "It's just jumping over a waterfall." Han Fei's face was black. "Do you want to see a fat man free fall and then smash into the water and make a huge splash several people high? When we get to the arena, we'll beat them until they call us daddy." Everyone? When Han Fei left, the people booed. Han Fei suddenly walked from the front of the team to the open space, made a very arrogant gesture to the countless people, stretched out 2 thumbs, and then pointed down. "Shit, kill him. Fatty, you are too arrogant. Damn it, I'll beat you into a thin man during the battle." What the hell? Is the Heavenly Water Village so arrogant because of Tangu? He Xiaoyu said, "Han Fei, you will be beaten to death." Xiangnan added, "I really can't imagine you going to the town." Wang Baiyu thought for a moment. "I'm afraid that you will set up a sign at the gate of the 3 academies saying that you are invincible in your level. Then we won't be able to help you." Han Fei sneered. "What do you know? This is the exclusive treatment of the protagonist." Han Fei snorted and walked to the field. After all, killing was allowed in this game unless one admitted defeat in advance. Behind the statue of Sea God, the fishing masters of the 8 villages, except for the juvenile team, were all sitting in the auditorium. At this moment, Qin Hai and the others were talking to a group of fishing masters. Han Fei asked, "What are they doing?" Wang Baiyu replied, "They're picking people. Each village sends 5 people to fight by drawing lots. The village that loses first will be the last. Those who lose at the same time will have the same ranking as last year." Han Fei glanced at Wang Baiyu, thinking to himself that this boy toy really knew a lot. However, he was not very optimistic about this battle. There seemed to be many peak-level fishing masters in the other villages. Read 2. Chapter 132. Han Fei sat in his square formation. Chen Jia, and Zhang Ping shifted to Han Fei's side. They asked curiously, "Why didn't you go to Brave or Dare?" Han Fei curled his lips. "Children's play. We don't play." The 2 of them blushed with shame. "You're speaking as if you're not good kids." Han Fei wondered, "Sister Jia, why is there only 1 peak-level fishing master in our village?" Han Fei saw clearly that among the 5 people who came out, only Qin Hai was a peak-level fishing master. Both Zhao Debai and Chao Fei were advanced fishing masters. Although he didn't know the other 2, they were also advanced fishing masters. Not far away, Zhang Ping snorted. Because every year, peak-level fishing masters have been killed. Han Fei and the others were shocked. The peak-level fishing masters were all killed? Zhang Ping said, "This is a death match. Unless you admit defeat early, the other party will definitely kill you." He Xiaoyu said stupidly, "Aren't they all peak-level fishing masters? How did he get killed?" "Are you stupid? There's also a big gap in strength between peak-level fishing masters." Han Fei thought to himself, "Isn't this also a trial? It's a good way to cultivate more and more excellent people through this method, but it's a bit cruel." In just a few moments, The 40 people had been separated. The referee announced, the results of the draw are Zhou Ming from the Heavenly Heart Village versus Zhao Ren from the Heavenly Fire Village. Li Sun from the Heavenly Wood Village versus Wang Kai from the Heavenly Moon Village. Zhao Debai from the Heavenly Water Village versus Lu Feng from the Heavenly Wind Village. Soon, the order of the battle was finished. In the cheers of countless people in the Heavenly Heart Village, the battle began. The first battle was between Zhou Ming from the Heavenly Heart Village and Zhao Ren from the Heavenly Fire Village. The two of them seemed to be old acquaintances. They didn't even greet each other and immediately started fighting. Han Fei was stunned only to see Zhoumin take out a bow and shoot 7 times in a row. The 7 arrows seemed to have grown eyes and were tracking Zhao Ren from the Heavenly Fire Village. Han Fei's eyelids twitched. Fuck, it can track me? Han Fei remembered that ever since he saw someone in the town using a bow half a year ago, he had been looking forward to it. Standing in a stable position, dealing damage, and killing the enemy with brute force, it would be a dominator in the world of weapons. Unfortunately, due to Jiang Qin's training, Han Fei had not been able to realize his wish. Now he wanted to use the bow again. Chen Jia replied, it's a bow skill. Our village doesn't have such a powerful bow skill. Zhao Ren was completely defenseless. He was too busy dodging the arrows and couldn't even get close. Arrows were coming from all directions. Zhao Ren was pierced by an arrow on the spot. He immediately shouted, I surrender. However, the arrows in the air did not stop. When he shouted these 2 words, he was pierced again and was directly nailed to the ground. Zhang Peng said, he didn't die, but he won't be able to recover within half a year. Zhou Min didn't kill him, otherwise he would have died just now. Everyone in the juvenile group looked serious. This was too powerful. Even Xia Wushuang, who was the most talented among them, turned pale. We can't stop this arrow. He Xiaoyu frowned. I don't like fighting. People will die. As it turned out, people were indeed going to die. The second match was between Li Sun from Heavenly Wood Village and Wang Kai from Heavenly Moon Village. Both of them were advanced fishing masters, but Wang Kai's attack was too strong and his rod was too fast and powerful. In only 7 moves he hit Li Sun's head with his rod and the latter died on the spot. Qin Jia looked solemn. The arena is so horrible. There is no victory or defeat, only life and death. He Xiaoyu was a little scared. I want to go home. I want to eat hot pot. If the enemy is too strong, we'll just surrender. Zhang Peng and Qin Jia nodded at the same time. Soon, Zhao Debai and Lu Feng from the Heavenly Wind Village were fighting. Fortunately, both of them focused on strength. After fighting for more than 10 minutes, Zhao Debai won by a narrow margin. 1 round. 2 rounds. Among the 20 contestants, 3 people were killed, and this was under the premise that someone surrendered in advance. An advanced fishing master from the Heavenly Water Village was seriously injured. The competition for the top 20 was even more tragic. 4 people were killed and 1 person from the Heavenly Water Village admitted defeat at the beginning. The competition went on until the afternoon. 5 out of the 10 contestants. At this moment, Chao Fei was fighting against Shi Feiyu from the Heavenly Moon Village, who was a newcomer, less than 20 years old, and used a spear. At the first contact, Chao Fei launched 3 consecutive explosions, which was extremely fierce and directly knocked Shi Feiyu back dozens of meters. At this moment, Chao Fei leaped forward, roared, and bombarded with great force. However, at this moment, Han Fei suddenly roared, "Surrender!" Chao Fei was taken aback. He recognized Han Fei's voice, but he didn't understand why he would surrender when he had the upper hand. But the next moment, Shi Feiyu took 3 steps back, shook the spear in his hand, and spiritual energy gathered at the tip of the spear. In an instant, the spear shot out like a dragon. Puff! The audience burst into an uproar, but the people from the Heavenly Water Village were gloomy. Chao Fei was pierced through the chest and hung on the tip of the spear. The village leader shouted, "Surrender!" Shi Feiyu waved his spear casually and Chao Fei fell to the ground with blood flowing out of his mouth. Qin Jia muttered, "Captain," Zhang Peng shouted, "Damn it." Shi Feiyu smiled contemptuously. Only fools will compete with brute force. Zhao Debai patted his head. Fuck, don't let me see you in the arena, or I'll kill you. Dozens of minutes later, on the Heavenly Water Village's side, the village leader came back with a black face. His organs are failing. He can't be saved. Han Fei couldn't help clenching his fists. He had treated Xiao Fei to hot pot more than once. This man looked fierce but was actually very kind to others. Just at this moment, Shi Feiyu glanced at Han Fei and seemed to be a little surprised by Han Fei's surrender. Han Fei glared back. If he could, he really wanted to go to the arena and kill him. Xia Wushuang was furious. That guy is laughing at us. Damn it, I must beat him to death. Wang Baiyu said coldly, then cultivate hard, try to become a peak-level fishing master, and kill him. Just when everyone was angry, the referee shouted, Zhao Debai from the Heavenly Water Village versus Yang Pei from the Heavenly Moon Village. Xiang Nan was anxious. Damn, why is it the Heavenly Moon Village again? Wang Baiyu frowned. 5 out of 10 have been eliminated. Every one of them is strong. They should surrender this round. The village leader shouted, Zhao Debai, surrender. Zhao Debai patted his head and roared, damn it. Let's fight. Xiao Fei and Zhao Debai were good friends, very good friends. When Xiao Fei was stabbed to death by a member of the Heavenly Moon Village, Zhao Debai's eyes turned red. How could he not fight against the Heavenly Moon Village? Zhao Debai jumped onto the arena. Bastard from the Heavenly Moon Village, I'm going to avenge Xiao Fei today. Yang Pei used a knife, which was propped on the ground. You're just going to die. If you surrender now, you can save your life. Cut the crap. Let's fight. Zhao Debai fought like crazy, throwing spiritual energy everywhere. After dozens of rounds, blood dripped from the corner of Yang Pei's mouth, while Zhao Debai had dozens of wounds on his body. The village leader said angrily, Zhao, surrender. Zhao Debai's eyes were bloodshot. Damn it. Kill. Clang, clang, clang. After a while, Zhao Debai was already covered with blood and fell to the ground. Seeing this, everyone from the Heavenly Water Village stood up. Yang Pei was also covered with blood, which was dripping to the ground at this moment. However, he walked up to Zhao Debai with a smile. You don't want to surrender? Then go to hell. Surrender. Everyone present? Someone suddenly said angrily, damn it, weren't you still fighting just now? Why did you surrender so quickly? Someone was speechless. I thought you were a fucking man. Someone cursed, why didn't you surrender earlier? Zhao Debai smiled bitterly. I have to stay alive to kill the bastards from the Heavenly Moon Village. It's not worth it to die here. Yang Pei took a deep look at Zhao Debai. Next time we meet you will definitely die. Zhao Debai grinned bitterly. You really want to die? Aren't you also seriously injured? At this moment, only Qin Hai and one person from the Heavenly Wind Village were left from the 4 weaker villages of Heavenly Wood, Heavenly Rain, Heavenly Wind and Heavenly Water. However, when they entered the arena, the one from the Heavenly Wind Village directly surrendered. But Qin Hai didn't. His opponent was from the Heavenly Sun Village, an old enemy. How could he lose without fighting? 20 minutes later, Qin Hai was carried off the arena. Like Zhao Debai, he surrendered at the last moment and was seriously injured. The juvenile group competition was on the 2nd day, and the Heavenly Water Village stopped at the 5th place. As for Qin Hai and Zhao Debai, they needed to be treated immediately and then sent back to the Heavenly Water Village to recuperate. In the end, Qin Hai held his breath and called Han Fei over. Qin Hai was still vomiting blood, but he still gritted his teeth and said, I know you are very strong. Xiao Fei said that you are much stronger than him. I believe him. Tomorrow, show us the power of the Heavenly Water Village. Han Fei nodded very seriously. Okay, I'll kill them all tomorrow. Unfortunately, you can't see it. Qin Hai smiled bitterly. I really want to see it. Read 2. Chapter 133. The next day, Han Fei said to the crowd in silence, I'm going to call the roll now. Xiao Wushuang, He Xiaoyu, Chen Zhou, Luo Chu, the 4 of you follow me. Chen Zhou and Luo Chu were the 2 who betrayed them. Han Fei said he would give them a chance, so he gave them a chance. As for the other 3 who had been knocked down by Xia Wushuang, they were not so lucky. After returning, they would definitely be severely punished or even disabled. Xiang Nan hurriedly grabbed Han Fei. Hey, Han Fei, why didn't you count me in? I'm almost recovered. I can still fight. Han Fei rolled his eyes at him. Bullshit. You have such a big wound on your stomach. If they use their strength, their intestines will be punched out. Wang Baiyu hesitated. Actually, you are the most seriously injured. I bet you will be knocked down before you can even take out your weapon. Han Fei looked at Chen Qing and Jia Tong. One was limping and the other was still hanging. How could they still fight? Xia Wushuang smiled. Hey, just you wait, watch me show off my might. He Xiao Yu pouted. I want to find a contractual spiritual beast that can help me fight. Han Fei shook his head slightly. You should become an advanced fishing master first. In the future, you will know that the rare spiritual fish in the level 1 fishery are not very useful. He Xiao Yu scoffed. Humph. I'm also very strong. Han Fei let He Xiao Yu fight because he knew that He Xiao Yu had also practiced the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing. Han Fei knew that if they really fought, this girl would definitely be fierce. The others were indignant and could only sit in the auditorium. Xiang Nan grabbed Wang Baiyu and said, Wang Baiyu, I'm not bragging, but if I'm fine, I can at least beat 2 of them. Wang Baiyu nodded absent-mindedly. Okay. Xiang Nan hurriedly said, Don't be so cold. Jia Tong, do you think I can beat them? Jia Tong was not in the mood to talk to him. Maybe. Xiang Nan was speechless. What do you mean maybe? Chen Qing, what do you think? Chen Qing said disdainfully, Stop bragging. I vaguely remember when you fought with He Xiao Yu in the town, you even beat her to her knees. Xiang Nan curled his lips and said, What do you guys know? Even if you guys go up against her, you'd still kneel. She's just like a girl when she's not fighting, but when she's fighting, she's not like a girl at all. Han Fei led them to the preparation area. He glanced at Chen Zhou and Luo Chu and said, Your fate is entirely in your hands. My request is not high. Kill one person, and if you can't, at least cripple them. The 2 looked at each other and nodded heavily. In fact, they were a little glad. After witnessing the prosperity of the town, no one wanted to return to the village. In this battle, they had to risk their lives. Soon, the audience seats were filled with people, and the competition began. The referee quickly drew out the name list. Wei Hua from the Heavenly Fire Village versus Xia Wushuang from the Heavenly Water Village. Holy shit! Many people were dumbfounded. It was as if a match had just begun and someone was already using a big move. Everyone knew that Xia Wushuang's strength was definitely not bad, and Wei Hua was the team leader of the Heavenly Fire Village. Between the 2 of them, there was a 50-50 chance that they would win. Xia Wushuang was as calm as an elegant young master and said calmly, It's just Wei Hua. I'll defeat him within 100 moves. Han Fei asked suspiciously, Are you sure? The referee continued to read. Xin Tong from the Heavenly Moon Village versus Lu Yang from the Heavenly Wind Village. The audience cheered again and many people were excited again. The referee was really good at this. Captain versus captain, no one could compete with him. The referee also looked at his own hand and murmured, Is it gilded? Then Wang Xiaoyu from the Heavenly Rain Village versus Lin Yi from the Heavenly Sun Village. Han Fei from the Heavenly Water Village versus Qiu Shu from the Heavenly Heart Village. Han Fei didn't know him, so he didn't take it seriously. His eyes fell on the field. Xia Wushuang against Wei Hua. It was not a big deal. He had to be ready to remind him to admit defeat at any time. On the field, Wei Hua said, I thought I would meet that fatty, but I didn't expect to meet you. We didn't meet in the town, but here. Let's have a try. Xia Wushuang added, You should be glad that you met me. If you really met Han Fei, I bet you would be killed by him. Wei Hua snorted coldly, and with a flash between his eyebrows, he shouted, Fuse. Xia Wushuang also shouted, Fuse. In an instant, Wei Hua threw out dozens of black spikes, which were so fast that they made a sound of friction with the air. Xia Wushuang's face changed slightly and he waved the rod in his hand extremely fast. Clank, clank, clank. Xia Wushuang frowned and a black spike brushed past his shoulder. This guy was an exotic ballfish. Illusion. His eyes turned white and Wei Hua on the opposite side staggered and shot dozens of black spikes in a row, but they were not shot in Xia Wushuang's direction at all. Xia Wushuang approached quickly with his rod. Explode. Wei Hua was immediately sent flying. Puff. Wei Hua vomited a mouthful of blood. Xiao Yu shouted from the sidelines, "Good job. Beat him to death. Beat him hard." On the side of the Heavenly Fire Village, a group of teenagers looked solemn and someone said, "Captain is in trouble. Xia Wushuang has awakened an extremely rare human-faced crab, which has the ability to create illusions. Captain is trapped." Wei Hua flipped over and shot a string of black spikes, but Xia Wushuang didn't block them. He dodged them and quickly approached him. At this moment, Wei Hua shouted, "Explode." With Wei Hua as the center, hundreds of black spikes shot out in all directions. Obviously, this move was beyond Xia Wushuang's expectation. It was too late for him to retreat. Clank, clank, clank. Puff, puff, puff. Xia Wushuang vomited a mouthful of blood and was pierced by at least 5 black spikes of spiritual energy. At this moment, his face was pale and he seemed to fall at any time. "Good job, Captain." "So what if it's an illusion?" The ball fish attacks indiscriminately. Xia Wushuang gritted his teeth. "I don't believe you can use this trick all the time." Immediately, a phantom of a human-faced crab appeared behind Xia Wushuang. As the crab's claws trembled, Wei Hua fought with the air. Left, right, black spikes shot out from the left, and black spikes shot out from the back. Xia Wushuang approached again and hit Wei Hua's head with a long rod. A ballfish appeared on Wei Hua's head, and both the ballfish and Wei Hua flew out. In mid-air, Wei Hua vomited blood and shot out hundreds of black spikes again. A few minutes later, Xia Wushuang, covered in blood, struggled to stand, while Wei Hua lay motionless on the ground. Wei Hua gritted his teeth. "Admit defeat." Xia Wushuang cursed, "Damn, I almost killed him." With that, Xia Wushuang fell back. Han Fei went up and carried Xia Wushuang back, and Xiao Yu quickly stuffed medicine into Xia Wushuang's mouth. Wang Baiyu said, "It's not bad that we can win. Unfortunately, this guy is too seriously injured. I'm afraid he will admit defeat in the next game." The challenge was very fast. The wind, rain, and water villages basically couldn't last more than 5 minutes. After a while, beside Han Fei, Qin Zhou stood up. The referee announced, "Qin Zhou from the Heavenly Water Village versus Liang Xia from the Heavenly Sun Village." As soon as the two entered the arena, Liang Xia smiled. "I thought that even if it wasn't Wang Baiyu, it should at least be Xiang Nan. I didn't expect it to be you, Qin Zhou. You can also play in the competition?" Qin Zhou didn't speak. His spiritual beast was an iron headfish, which was not very good. Although his weapon was not a rod, the explosive power of the axe was better than a rod. Fuse. Both sides shouted at the same time and then ran forward crazily. Liang Xia used a rod, so he was not afraid of this kind of chop. He shouted and was ready to fight with Qin Zhou. In an instant, a strong light burst from the axe. Liang Xia didn't expect Qin Zhou to be so desperate. Half of his spiritual energy was gathered in the axe. Did he think he was a fishing master? Liang Xia was sent flying. As soon as he got up, Qin Zhou's axe came at him. Stab. Liang Xia sneered and stabbed his long rod at Qin Zhou like a sword. Puff. The long rod directly penetrated Qin Zhou's lower abdomen, and the latter's eyes were bloodshot. Qin Zhou shouted, "Chop." Liang Xia was shocked. "Do you want to die? Do you want to take my stab?" The next second, Liang Xia was shocked and hurriedly tried to dodge, but the axe was already coming. Crack! Liang Xia had never encountered such a reckless fight. Under the axe, one of his arms fell off. However, Qin Zhou held his breath. I can't lose. If I lose, even if I don't die, my life will be over." Bam! Qin Zhou hit Liang Xia with his head, which stunned the screaming Liang Xia, and then he chopped down with his axe. But a crayfish suddenly appeared above Liang Xia's head, and under the axe, the crayfish's shell was split in half. Puff! Qin Zhou fell on his back. Unfortunately, his desperate blows still failed to kill the opponent. Read 2. Chapter 134. Liang Xia's spiritual beast was killed. This was the first spiritual beast to die. If Qin Zhou had been holding a stick, he wouldn't have died. But Qin Zhou was holding an axe, and with a full-force blow, even the crayfish was cut in half. Gu Longyu was furious. Bastard, I'll kill him. At this time, Han Fei had already reached the field. He carried Qin Zhou back and ran while shouting, Wang Baiyu Yao Yao. Qin Zhou smiled bitterly. I still didn't succeed. Han Fei, however, was very anxious. Even if he doesn't die, he will be crippled. It's the same as killing him. Qin Zhou grabbed Han Fei's clothes. I'm not a traitor. Han Fei nodded. Then Qin Zhou fainted. Wang Baiyu quickly poured the medicine into Qin Zhou's mouth and said, This is the only fatal wound. There is a high chance that he can survive. At that moment, the village chief arrived. He glanced at Qin Zhou and said, Leave it to me. Everyone present was stunned. In the Heavenly Wood Village, Miao Mumu was dumbfounded. The Heavenly Water Village has changed. In the Heavenly Rain Village, Yun Qian took a deep breath. How domineering! This is a real life and death battle. In the Heavenly Heart Village, Fong Qing's eyes flashed. How ruthless! In the spectator seats, countless people were stunned. Up until now, they had never seen such a clean and neat battle. The entire battle did not last more than 10 seconds. 2 axes to decide life and death. On the side of the Heavenly Water Village, many people had tears in their eyes. Why did a child have to bear all this? Luo Chu's expression turned serious. Qin Zhou had already won this battle in everyone's hearts, but what about him? Could he be like Qin Zhou and carve out a path for himself? After a while, the referee announced, Pei Heng from the Heavenly Heart Village versus Luo Chu from the Heavenly Water Village. Luo Chu took a deep breath and went up the stage with his rod. Fuse. Kill. Pei Heng seemed to be aware of this and snorted, Do you think I'm an idiot like Liang Xia? Pei Heng shouted, Battle Soul Skill, Strangulation. A long tail shadow directly strangled Luo Chu. Explode. Luo Chu's strike was like a hammer, and half of his spiritual energy was blasted out. Bang! Suddenly Han Fei shouted, Admit defeat. In the end, before Luo Chu could say anything, the saber in Pei Heng's hand flashed. In the next moment, Luo Chu fell to the ground, blood flowing from his neck. Han Fei's face was black and his heart was trembling. He glanced in the direction of the Heavenly Heart Village and then at the audience who were cheering wildly. He hadn't expected the third match. In the past, if he didn't kill, he would die. But what was the point of this competition? Han Fei silently carried Luo Chu back. It was hopeless. He was killed with one stab. He Xiaoyu, your opponent is also from the Heavenly Heart Village, right? With tears on her face, He Xiaoyu nodded hard. She did not hate Luo Chu. In fact, it was Hu Kuan who instigated him. If he hated her, he would only hate Hu Kuan. Wang Baiyu frowned. That Pei Heng is not from our academy, so we don't know his strength. If I had known, I would have asked him to admit defeat. Xia Wushuang struggled to sit up. I can still fight. Han Fei glared at him. Shut up. On the other side, Fong Qing said lightly, We've become enemies. Pei Heng, who had just returned, sneered. So be it. When have the people of Heavenly Heart Village been afraid? The referee announced, He Xiaoyu from the Heavenly Water Village versus Luo Yun from the Heavenly Heart Village. On the field, He Xiaoyu pointed at Luo Yun with her bamboo stick. Although you are a girl, I'm going to beat you to death. Luo Yun smiled. Ha! Are the people of the Heavenly Water Village so arrogant now? Isn't He Xiaoyu a crybaby? I remember how many times you cried in the town. Alas, I can't count them all. Fuse. He Xiaoyu shouted and little red entered her body. Suddenly He Xiaoyu's whole body was burning with flames. This was the difference between an exotic spiritual beast and an ordinary spiritual beast. Luo Yun's face changed slightly, but then a sapphire color appeared on her body and a pair of rotating pincers appeared. Xia Wushuang said, "Sapphire crab, a rare creature with strong attack power." Han Fei knew that the sapphire crab's two big pincers were like two drills, but Han Fei smiled and said, "I won." "Xia Wushuang?" Xiangnan asked, "How did you win?" The battle had already begun. He Xiaoyu's long stick was burning with flames, and every blow of the stick would bring a pillar of fire. Seeing the rotating drill, He Xiaoyu rushed at it head-on. Luo Yun smiled disdainfully. "Are you stupid? I'm a sapphire crab." Clang! With just one blow, Luo Yun's face changed drastically. How could He Xiaoyu's strength be so great and domineering? Clang, clang. He Xiaoyu played with the stick in her hand as if it were a part of her body, picking, stabbing, sweeping, chopping, flicking, and swinging. Luo Yun was directly hit into the air and didn't even fall to the ground. "I admit," smack. He Xiaoyu's stick hit Luo Yun's mouth and broke all her teeth. But was it really over? Little Red was a fish of flames. Wherever it was hit by He Xiaoyu, it was burning. "I admit." The second time Luo Yun admitted defeat, countless people from the Heavenly Heart Village were shouting, "She admitted defeat." "Referee, she violated the rules." Fang Qing also shouted to the referee, "We have already admitted defeat." He Xiaoyu was fighting hard. She had the ability to stop Luo Yun from opening her mouth, but suddenly a hand blocked her stick. The referee announced, "The other party has admitted defeat." He Xiaoyu froze for a moment. "When did she admit defeat?" The referee replied, "Even half a word can be regarded as admitting defeat." On the side of the Heavenly Water Village, a group of people roared, "Bullshit! Admit defeat? Who knows what she will admit?" The referee warned, "Warning, boys from the Heavenly Water Village, if you speak rudely again, you will be expelled directly." Xia Wushuang was unwilling to give up and still wanted to speak, but he was pressed down by Han Fei. "Shut up. Let me do it." He Xiaoyu stomped her feet angrily. How could she do this? I interrupted her. At this time, someone in the audience threw things at He Xiaoyu and cursed, "Bitch, why didn't you admit defeat? You from the Heavenly Water Village, don't let me meet you in the fishery next time. Bitch, you're courting death." Han Fei shouted to the audience with his stick, "You from the Heavenly Heart Village, come to me if you dare. Who the fuck do you think you are? Damn fatty." Swish! With a flash of cold light, a flying knife broke through the air and pierced the hand of the man who called him fatty, and blood gushed out. The referee was furious, pointing at Han Fei and shouting, "You from the Heavenly Water Village, stop, or I can expel you now." Han Fei turned around and pointed at the referee with his stick. "What? Let the people from the Heavenly Heart Village insult us? Is this how the people from the Heavenly Heart Village are taught? You can kill others, but if I beat your people, I'll beat you too. If you are unfair, believe it or not, I will beat you too." Hiss! When he said the last sentence, the whole audience was silent. What did this kid say? He even beat the referee? Is he crazy? The people from the other villages were all stunned. Miao Mumu folded her fists on her chest. "Oh my god! This fatty is so domineering, so fierce. Wow, so domineering." Gu Longyu disdainfully said, "Idiot, he even wants to beat the referee. I don't want to say anything to him. He can be beaten to death." Wei Hu sneered. "He's crazy. I actually like this fatty a little bit." Shen Tong said, "Arrogant and ignorant, he is digging his own grave." At this moment, the village leader of the Heavenly Water Village came back and shouted angrily, "Han Fei, shut up, what are you doing?" Han Fei waved at He Xiaoyu and then said to the stands, "If you treat me unfairly again, I will challenge you one by one. You are all trash." The village leader scolded, "Han Fei, shut up." Han Fei scratched his belly. Okay, I will shut up." Xia Wushuang swallowed. "Damn, when can I be as crazy as him?" Wang Baiyu shook his head. "You have no chance. You will be beaten to death immediately." Xiangnan asked, "Won't he be beaten to death?" Jia Tong replied, "Not really. Even the big scorpion didn't kill him. Chen Qing took a deep breath. I believe you. Everyone in the juvenile team of the Heavenly Heart Village was furious. This was a blatant provocation. It was too crazy, too crazy. Fang Qing scolded, calm down. Don't forget, if Xiaoyu is so powerful, why is Han Fei the captain? Not long after, it was Han Fei's turn. The referee was also full of anger at the moment and took a deep look at Han Fei. Han Fei from the Heavenly Water Village versus Lin Yuan from the Heavenly Moon Village. In the auditorium. Beat him to death. Kill this fatty. He is too arrogant. He must think he is in the Heavenly Water Village. Han Fei walked onto the field with a stick, and in the angry shouts of the audience, he made a contemptuous thumbs-down gesture to everyone. Then he inserted the stick into the ground and crooked his finger at Lin Yuan opposite him. Lin Yuan was furious. What does this mean? Don't you want to use weapons? Shen Tong, the captain of the Heavenly Moon Village, shouted, Lin Yuan, be careful. Go all out. Read 2. Chapter 135. Han Fei had angered the public. Now, except for the people of the Heavenly Water Village, almost everyone wanted Han Fei to be killed. On the Heavenly Moon Village's side, someone said, don't worry. Lin Yuan's spiritual beast is an armored turtle. Even if he is defeated, this fatty can't kill him. Someone wondered, I don't know what this fatty's soul is. If it's an exotic spiritual beast, it will be difficult. However, when Lin Yuan shouted fuse, Han Fei didn't even open his mouth. Lin Yuan was furious. Damn, fatty, since you want to die, I'll help you. Kill? Lin Yuan rushed at him and the long knife in his hand was overflowing with knife energy. The long knife was only a few meters away from Han Fei, but Han Fei still didn't move. Someone in the audience was speechless. Is this fatty stupid? But at the next moment, when the long knife was about to reach Han Fei's door, Han Fei slightly twisted his body. In the blink of an eye, a knife had been inserted into Lin Yuan's chest and penetrated directly. Han Fei pulled out the knife, wiped it on Lin Yuan's clothes, and then pulled out the rod and walked back. It was not until Han Fei walked 5 or 6 meters away that he saw Lin Yuan fell to the ground. For a moment, the audience was silent. On the Heavenly Water Village's side, Xiangnan rubbed his eyes. No way. I didn't see him pull out the knife. Xia Wushuang grinned. Cool. He killed the opponent without moving. He is very strong. Wang Baiyu's mouth twitched. He suddenly wondered how strong Han Fei was. Why could he survive the red-tailed Scorpion King? Before the referee shouted, the people of the Heavenly Moon Village had already rushed up. Someone roared angrily. There was no time to save him. He was already dead. In the courtroom, the village leader of the Heavenly Moon Village took a deep look at Old Zhao. Who is this person? Is he studying in the town? Old Zhao said leisurely, half a year ago, a teacher from the 3rd Academy in the town specially came to the Heavenly Water Village to invite him, but he refused. Hearing this, all the village leaders present looked at Old Zhao. In everyone's view, the opportunity to go to the town school was precious, but it was refused by a boy? Old Zhao was very happy at the moment. He deserves to be a guy who has been practicing hard for half a year. If you know that this guy is also a spirit gatherer, will you be shocked speechless? And if Old Zhao knew that Han Fei was still a soul warrior, he would probably be speechless. Han Fei sat down and looked at He Xiaoyu. Am I handsome? He Xiaoyu snorted. If you are not so fat. A moment later, the 20-10 lucky draw began. This time, Han Fei drew a person from the Heavenly Sun Village named Che Jia. Wang Baiyu said, I know this guy. His spiritual beast is a 3-headed snake and he uses double knives. It doesn't matter how many times it takes. Over at Heavenly Sun Village. Gu Longyu asked, Che Jia, do you want to admit defeat? This fatty isn't simple. Even if Lin Yuan isn't strong, he shouldn't have died so easily. Che Jia frowned. I have a 3-headed snake body defense and a spiritual energy protective cover, so I shouldn't be killed in one blow. I'll admit defeat after one blow. I want to see if he will use his spiritual beast. Gu Longyu thought for a while. Che Jie was very strong, on the same level as Wei Hua and Xia Wushuang. The three-headed snake could spit out 3 kinds of ice flames, so it should be impossible to be killed in one blow. On the field, the manipulator Miao Mumu directly manipulated the spiritual plant to seal the opponent. Han Fei got up and said lightly, "Okay, it's my turn." When Han Fei walked onto the field again, although there were still people clamoring for his death, there were very few people now. This fatty didn't look simple at first glance. He didn't even use his spiritual beast to kill Lin Yuan just now. His rod was stuck in the ground. Fang Qing said lightly, "Che Jie is very strong. Let's see how far he can push Han Fei." Fang Qing didn't say that Che Jie could win. In her opinion, it was impossible for him to defeat Han Fei in close combat. On the field, Han Fei stuck his rod in the ground and continued to wave at Che Jie. Che Jie shouted, "Asshole, do you think I am Lin Yuan? Han Fei, use your spiritual beast." Han Fei thought for a while. "My spiritual beast is a spirit-swallowing fish. It's useless." "What?" The audience was in an uproar. "Spirit-swallowing fish? Are you fucking kidding me?" Gu Longyu was dumbfounded. No wonder this guy has never shown his spiritual beast. Spirit-swallowing fish? Shen Tong smiled. It seems that he can't use his spiritual beast. In this case, he is strong in close combat. If he attacks from afar. Che Jie snorted, "Humph, fuse." Spiritual energy protective cover. Che Jie fused with the three-headed snake and fused with the rare creature lightning crab, so he added a spiritual energy protective cover to his body. He had regarded Han Fei as the strongest enemy in his life. Kill. The 2 knives attacked Han Fei from above and below, but this was not his real killing move. His real killing move was the 3 ice flames. When Che Jie approached, he saw a flash of knife light. The spiritual energy protective cover was broken. The lightning crab fused with him. The 3-headed snake flew out to protect its master and its 3 heads fell to the ground. Che Jie's double knives finally cut Han Fei, but why did they make a clang? Che Jie was about to admit defeat when a cold light flashed. From then on, he never had a chance to speak again. Admit defeat after 1 blow? How could he admit defeat? Hiss. The field fell silent again. Han Fei said casually, "If 1 cut doesn't work, then 2. At this moment, in the Heavenly Sun Village, no one dared to challenge Han Fei on Gu Longyu's side. Was he still a human? Che Jie could be regarded as a powerhouse second only to him. 2 cuts. That was in the blink of an eye. Was there any difference between 2 cuts and 1 cut? Not only Gu Longyu, but all the contestants were horrified. Was that a human body? Isn't that fucking steel? How could they fight him? He stood still and they couldn't even break his defense. Fang Qing's pupils shrank. Everyone be careful. If you encounter Han Fei in close combat, just admit defeat. Han Fei returned to his seat, and everyone looked at him as if he were a monster. Li Xiaoyu hesitated for a long time. "Are you really an intermediate fishing master?" Han Fei thought for a while. "I just used the power of an intermediate fishing master." The corners of Xia Wushuang and the others' mouths twitched. This guy didn't even use any combat skills. He just stood there and didn't even pull out his rod. Then his opponent was killed. This kind of person couldn't even use his trump card. How could they fight him? Xia Wushuang sighed. "Forget it. I wanted to find time to fight with you." "Forget it? I'd better go back to the town to challenge those strong masters." Xia Wushuang was afraid that his illusion would be useless to Han Fei and he would rush up stupidly. Then he would be killed by Han Fei. Half an hour later. 5 out of 10 lots were drawn. Only Miao Mumu from the Wind, Rain, and Wood villages was selected, and Han Fei happened to draw her. Miao Mumu immediately raised her hand. "I admit defeat." The referee, Han Fei, also twitched his mouth. "The battle hasn't started yet and you've already admitted defeat. How strong is your desire to survive?" But the others also breathed a sigh of relief. It's good that Han Fei is not selected. Let him enter the top 5. If he killed his opponent with 1 cut, how embarrassing would the scene be? However, although Han Fei entered the top 5, He Xiaoyu drew Shen Tong, the captain of the juvenile team of the Heavenly Moon Village. Han Fei looked at Wang Baiyu. Wang Baiyu explained, Shen Tong, an exotic spiritual beast with the tentacles of Buddha's hand. It can absorb the opponent's spiritual energy and has a long attack range. Use a stick. Han Fei nodded and looked at He Xiaoyu. You can win, right? He Xiaoyu hesitated and thought for a while. I think so. Han Fei nodded. Just don't let the Buddha's hand touch you. He Xiaoyu nodded hard. The Buddha's hand is like a bloody anemone. It's disgusting. Han Fei seemed to think of something bad. There will always be more disgusting things in the future. The others were speechless. Are you serious? Are you sure you're going to win or lose? Disgusting. That thing is very powerful, okay? It took half an hour before it was He Xiaoyu's turn. Those who had advanced were Han Fei, Fang Qing, Gu Longyu, and a girl from the Heavenly Heart Village, Zhu Jin. He Xiaoyu was about to go up when she heard Han Fei say, if you can't beat him, just admit defeat. He Xiaoyu nodded. Okay. Read 2. Chapter 136. In the arena, the moment Shen Tong fused with his spiritual beast, countless tentacles stretched out behind him like long whips. He Xiaoyu's whole body was on fire and she dodged crazily in the arena. Every time the long whips were about to hit her, He Xiaoyu seemed to have expected it. Her delicate body would always make some weird postures, as if she could easily avoid the whips of the tentacles. The whole audience was shocked. People generally didn't have such strong requirements for girls as boys. If she was chosen, many people wouldn't be able to bear it. Xia Wushuang glanced at Han Fei and said leisurely, Han Fei, why do I feel that you seem to know He Xiaoyu's weird moves too? Xiangnan asked, are you two in love? That's why you learned a set of mysterious moves with him that no one else knows. Han Fei's face was black. Go away. That's what Fang Zhe taught us. We can't teach it to others. Wow, everyone was shocked. Fang Zhe had actually secretly taught them battle skills. This was too much. Why didn't they have such good luck? Wang Baiyu frowned. But although He Xiaoyu can avoid those tentacles, Shen Tong's attacks seem a bit too dense. How can He Xiaoyu approach him? Han Fei shook his head. She lost this game. If He Xiaoyu had learned a bow skill, she might have won. This is how melee fighters fight ranged fighters. If you can't get close, you can't win. Sure enough, He Xiaoyu was very aggrieved on the field. Shen Tong was too much. How could he have so many tentacles? It was hard for her to get close to him. He Xiaoyu was angry and threw out the bamboo rod in her hand with a swish, directly pressing all the spiritual energy in her body. Bim! Several tentacles were directly blown up, but they still couldn't block the power of the rod. Shen Tong was hit by the rod and was knocked 4 or 5 meters away, vomiting a mouthful of blood. But before Shen Tong fought back, He Xiaoyu shouted, admit defeat. Even if I can't beat you, I'll hit you. Shen Tong's face turned red with anger. How can she do this? He Xiaoyu walked over slowly to pick up the rod, and when she walked to Shen Tong, she said seriously, it's useless for you to enter the top 5. You are destined to lose. Shen Tong snorted. Is it any of your business? He Xiaoyu came back angrily. We can't beat him. Han Fei said with a smile, it doesn't matter if I can't beat him. At least I'm confident. The rest of the team heaved a sigh of relief. No one knew if it was intentional or not. Shen Tong met the girl named Zhu Jin from the Heavenly Water Village. The girl used a bow in the first round, and her powerful archery skills confirmed the usefulness of bows. Shen Tong, this tentacle monster, did not even last for 5 minutes. She was a ranged attacker, and her opponent was even further away than her. Her tentacles could not reach him at all, and it was only a matter of time before she lost. Unfortunately, Gu Longyu met Fang Qing. To everyone's surprise, Gu Longyu didn't even enter the ring. He directly shouted that he gave up, which surprised many people. Gu Longyu sat in his seat and snorted. Do you think I'm stupid? Fang Qing can lead the Heavenly Heart Village. Do you really think she's weak? So the next scene was very awkward. There were only two people left in the Heavenly Heart Village, Zhu Jin and Fang Qing. And Han Fei was the only one left in the Heavenly Water Village. Even if Han Fei was defeated, he still became the dark horse of this resource competition, leading the Heavenly Water Village to the highest score in history, second place. Seeing that the referee was about to draw lots, Han Fei suddenly stood up and said, "No need. The remaining two, come at me together." Everyone? The referee? Fang Qing and Zhu Jin were shocked. Was he serious? Fang Qing knew that Han Fei was very strong, but she didn't know her true identity. In this case, he wanted to fight against two people alone? The audience was boiling. Beat him. That's what he said. Let's fight him together. He's so arrogant. The referee repeated, Han Fei, are you sure you want to challenge two people at the same time in the field? Han Fei snorted. It's the last round. Let's solve it once and for all. The referee ignored him but looked at Fang Qing and Zhu Jin. What do you two think? If you two don't agree, we'll continue to draw lots. Fang Qing said decisively, okay. Fang Qing was doubting Han Fei's strength. Han Fei hadn't used any combat skills yet, and according to her observation, his defensive ability was too strong. Che Jie's two knives were very strong, but they didn't even leave a mark on Han Fei's body. Han Fei walked onto the field and scratched his belly. Smart, but it's a pity that you are two girls. I don't like killing people, let alone bullying girls. It's a pity that Pei Hing lost. Otherwise, as long as he dares to come up, I promise he won't admit defeat. On the player's bench, Pei Heng's face turned green. He was angry in his heart, but he didn't say anything. His strength was not much higher than Che Jie's. If he really went up to the field, he would be killed by Han Fei with 2 or 3 knives. Old Zhao's face was all black. Why are you pretending now? Just finish the game and take the first place and leave. On the field, Fang Qing whispered a few words to Zhu Jin. Immediately, the two women shouted at the same time, "Fuse." Han Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. At the moment Fang Qing fused, she disappeared. Invisibility? No, it's just a camouflage. Han Fei keenly felt that there was more than one sound piercing through the air. Zhu Jing's arrows were piercing through the air, but he felt something was wrong. Han Fei suddenly tilted his head and the 2 knives in his hands suddenly cut through the air beside him. With a clang, someone was retreating continuously. Han Fei was about to chase after him, but 3 spiritual energy arrows blocked his way. Clank, clank, clank. With 3 slashes, the 3 arrows of spiritual energy were directly smashed, and the air around Han Fei was shaking. Humph, again. The audience only saw Han Fei's body suddenly lean to one side and a knife suddenly surged with spiritual energy. He waved it out as fast as lightning, and a violent explosion broke out in the air. Fang Qing's figure appeared, gliding on the ground at this moment. Han Fei swung the knife in his hand and casually smashed a spiritual energy arrow shooting from behind. He felt like a big devil at this moment, looking at Fang Qing with a playful look. Han Fei asked, "What else can you do?" "Continue." Fang Qing was shocked. She could feel that the blow that Han Fei used was only the strength of an intermediate fishing master. How was it possible? As a hunter, even a peak-level fishing master had to avoid her attack when she burst out her power in an instant. How could he block it so easily? Xiao Jin arrow rain. Fang Qing disappeared again and Zhu Jin shot an arrow into the sky. When the arrow fell, it had become a dense rain of arrows, which undoubtedly destroyed Han Fei's perception and hearing of Fang Qing. Han Fei muttered, "Not bad." Detach. 7 tails suddenly appeared behind Han Fei, and at the same time he stretched out his hand and pressed the purple bamboo rod. In everyone's eyes, Han Fei was obviously playing cool. The sky was full of arrows and Fang Qing was lurking around, but this guy just stood there, holding the rod in one hand and playing cool. Some people were also surprised. What was Han Fei's contractual spiritual beast? Why did it have tails? Also, why did the tail look like a chain? When the dense rain of arrows fell, the 7 chains behind Han Fei moved. Clank, clank, clank. After staying in the rain of arrows for 5 seconds, Han Fei suddenly roared and made a 360-degree turn with the purple bamboo rod in his hand. The purple bamboo rod, which was infused with spiritual energy, drew a shining circle in the air. At this moment, Fang Qing's figure appeared. In order to avoid Han Fei's sweep, she jumped up directly and stabbed the dagger in her hand at Han Fei. However, when Fang Qing saw the playful smile at the corner of Han Fei's mouth, she was shocked. She had underestimated her opponent. Han Fei suddenly inserted the rod into the ground, pulled it violently, and bounced it off. Fang Qing was bounced off and vomited a mouthful of blood. Han Fei didn't look at her at all but quickly took the fishing rod from his back. With a swish, the fishing rod broke through the air and shot directly at Zhu Jin. Zhu Jin frowned and shot arrows in his hand, but the fish hook seemed to have eyes and was dodging. Xia Wushuang was shocked. Damn hook technique. When did this guy learn such a powerful hook technique? The audience had already forgotten to shout at this moment. Who is this fatty? He's too abnormal. Does he think he's playing with children? At the moment when Zhu Jin wanted to escape, the fish hook suddenly accelerated, tied her up, and then retracted the rod. Han Fei sneered. What's the difference between a human and a fish? Since I can fish, I can also fish people. From behind, Fang Qing attacked again. This time, Han Fei didn't even look back. He pulled the purple bamboo rod inserted into the ground and flicked it again at the moment when Fang Qing attacked. Fang Qing was smashed away again, and Zhu Jin was caught in Han Fei's hand. Han Fei let go of the fishing rod and grabbed the longbow in Zhu Jin's hand with one hand. I thought there would be a great fishing master among you, but unfortunately, there isn't. How disappointing. Read 2. Chapter 137. Han Fei slapped Zhu Jin's lower abdomen and directly disabled her. It was not that he was cruel, but because Zhu Jin was very powerful. If he didn't disable her, she would be killed by the people of the Heavenly Water Village in the future. Han Fei picked up the longbow and pulled the bowstring, which scared Fang Qing and she hurriedly dodged. However, this time she really overestimated Han Fei. Han Fei's shooting skills were very poor. He shot more than a dozen times in a row but failed to hit Zhu Jin. Han Fei held the longbow and muttered, "Keep running. I'll try again. Don't worry. I'll hit her soon." Fang Qing's face darkened. Is he humiliating us? Fang Qing was sullen. I admit defeat. Han Fei said regretfully, Don't you want to continue? Zhu Jin recovered from the severe pain. Her face was pale and her eyes were dull. She felt Han Fei's power at the moment she touched him. At that moment, she felt that as long as Han Fei moved his hand, she would be beheaded immediately. Han Fei said coldly, "Don't blame me. I'm not completely disabled. I can recultivate, but it's impossible for me to become a fishing master again." The audience was terribly quiet. The Heavenly Heart Village audience had never thought that they would lose. They won every year. What happened today? The Heavenly Water Village exploded? Not only Han Fei, but many people also exploded and fought with their lives on the line. The referee was silent for a long time. In the juvenile group, the Heavenly Water Village wins. But after the comprehensive evaluation, the adult group of the Heavenly Water Village only ranks 4th, so the overall score ranks 2nd. Han Fei let go of Zhu Jin and let Fang Qing take her away, while he shouted to the referee, "Wait a minute." The referee frowned. Han Fei, what do you want to say? Han Fei grinned. Can I challenge the adult group? What? The whole arena exploded in an instant. What the hell? It was the first time in history that the juvenile group challenged the adult group. Han Fei pointed in the direction of the Heavenly Moon Village. Hey Shifeiyu, how about a fight? Arrogant. I'm so angry. I really want to kill this fatty. Damn it. I want to vomit blood. Damn it, kill him. Han Fei once again angered the crowd. The Heavenly Moon Village was also in an uproar. Some people in the adult group were eager to fight but were suppressed by their captain. Shifeiyu looked a little flustered. You're not allowed to go. If you win, it won't be honorable. If you lose, our Heavenly Moon Village will lose all its face. That youth is dangerous. He's strong, very strong. Seeing that no one entered the arena, Han Fei murmured, "None of them can fight." Those who could hear him wished they could tear him to shreds. Han Fei, on the other hand, returned to the team indifferently. He thought to himself, since I'm so arrogant and good at fighting, I should be a genius. It should meet the standard that old Jiang mentioned, right? No one in the team spoke to Han Fei. Well, Wang Baiyu, when are we going back to the town? Wang Baiyu thought for a moment. Maybe in a few days. If I don't go back to town, I'll be beaten up. Xiang Nan was interacting with He Xiaoyu. He Xiaoyu, I find that you have become more beautiful recently. He Xiaoyu said in surprise, Really? How beautiful? Xiang Nan said shamelessly, I can't find anyone better looking than you in our village. Qin Qing asked Jia Tong, when we return to the village, do you want to eat hot pot? Jia Tong nodded. But if we don't eat now, we won't be able to eat in the town. Han Fei? Han Fei was speechless. Don't you care about me, the champion? I just won first place. Xia Wushuang passed by Han Fei. Let's go, the game is over. Let's go back to the village. We can't stay in the Heavenly Heart Village anymore. He Xiaoyu nodded. But I'm going home to play fish dragon cards with my father. We need one more player. Anyone want to join us? Xiang Nan responded, Let's go, I'll go. Han Fei? What happened next was none of Han Fei's business. What could the Heavenly Heart Village do? If they couldn't beat him, they couldn't. Could ordinary people beat Han Fei? When they returned to the Heavenly Water Village, it was already late. The village leader held a banquet in the Fish Dragon Hot Pot restaurant and announced to the whole town that the Heavenly Water Village had made a comeback and won 3,000 portions of Spirit Awakening fluid for this year. For a time, every household in the Heavenly Water Village was decorated with lanterns and streamers. Some played cards and some ate barbecue. The business of the Fish Dragon soared. At the dinner table, Qin Hai, who had just recovered from his injuries, ran over. Han Fei, how strong are you now? When Qin Hai heard that Han Fei had defeated the Heavenly Heart Village and won first place, he was stunned. He even couldn't sit still when he heard that Han Fei had challenged the adult team of the Heavenly Heart Village. Han Fei scratched his belly. I'm still a fishing master. Everyone silently realized what it meant to still be a fishing master. An intermediate fishing master was still a fishing master, and a peak-level fishing master was still a fishing master, but the gap between them was too big. Wang Baiyu pondered. Han Fei, you should go to the town. I'm afraid the village has limited your growth. Han Fei nodded. So, in the evening, in the plantation, Han Fei sat at the door, accompanied old Jiang to drink some wine, and then said, Old man, was my performance amazing this time? Was I a genius? Old Jiang said disdainfully, Humph, how dare you brag about your little achievement? Do you think I don't know? Why did you use other people's bows to shoot at them? Han Fei was speechless. How do you know everything? Old Jiang sneered. It's not difficult at all. Do you think your performance is already excellent? But the mayor didn't talk to you, which means that your talent is acceptable to him, understand? Han Fei scoffed, Why did the mayor talk to me? Am I a genius? Old Jiang took a sip of wine and said, You don't understand. When you went to the 4th Academy, you had to be a genius. What level do you think these little guys from the town are? They are all at the bottom of the town. Only a few of them can show their talent. What's there to be proud of? Han Fei. At this time, Jiang Qin came out of the house, winked at Han Fei, and ran to the training ground. Training ground. Jiang Qin went straight to the point. How long will it take to get to the town? Han Fei thought for a while. I think I'll break through to become a great fishing master. I feel that this breakthrough is more difficult and may need a lot of spiritual energy. Jiang Qin wondered, Huh? You don't have enough spiritual energy? Han Fei smiled awkwardly. I don't think so. Jiang Qin frowned. Even with a spirit gathering array? Han Fei nodded. I haven't tried it yet, but I think it may be a little difficult. Jiang Qin squinted at Han Fei. When a fishing master makes a breakthrough, his endurance limit will continue to increase, and then he will absorb a lot of spiritual energy from the outside world. How can he not have enough spiritual energy? Han Fei thought to himself, I can't tell you. Jiang Qin didn't ask anymore but said calmly, in fact, the level 1 fishery is not without treasures. Don't you have mantis shrimp? Mantis shrimp are good at digging holes. Go to the mine. It is said that there are opportunities in the mine. The reason why people often go to the mine is that some people have found opportunities in the mine. What? Han Fei had never thought about this place. What use did those stones have except for refining? Every time he passed by, Han Fei could always see people wandering in the mine, so he took it for granted that there were no opportunities in the mine. But now Jiang Qin said so, he was not so sure. Digging holes? Did she mean that he should dig holes into the mine? Early the next morning, Han Fei went to sea without saying goodbye to anyone. His goal was the seabed mine. After the resource competition 2 days ago, there were many people going to sea today. In order to keep a low profile, Han Fei put away the fishing boat at the edge and dived into the sea. Han Fei summoned the 9-tailed mantis shrimp. Mantis shrimp, let's go. Although fishing masters were not afraid of going into the sea, there were not many who would really choose to go into the sea, so Han Fei hardly met anyone along the way. About 2 hours later, Han Fei came to the seabed mine. Sure enough, there might be few people in other places, but there were still people digging with hoes in the seabed mine. Han Fei asked, 9-tailed mantis shrimp, can you break these stones? The 9-tailed mantis shrimp waved his big hammer as if to say, just wait and see. Han Fei patted the shrimp's head, sank to the bottom of the sea, chose a random hole dug by someone, and got into it. Thud, Han Fei slapped the 9-tailed mantis shrimp on the head. I'll dig with my claws. Do you want to shock your master to death? Han Fei glanced at the hole dug by the 9-tailed mantis shrimp, wondering if it would break the hole even if it dug out something. Suddenly, Han Fei had an idea. Wait, can Little Black bite through stones? Read 2. Chapter 138. After Little Black and Little White were released, they were dumbfounded. Little Black. Han Fei patted Little Black's head. Can you bite a stone? Little Black bared his teeth and ran to the stone. Han Fei thought he was going to bite it, but he kissed the stone and then ran back, as if saying that the stone was not delicious. Han Fei was speechless. Did I ask you to eat it? I asked you to dig it. Little Black reluctantly went up and bit a small hole. Then he spat out the stone in his mouth and looked back at Han Fei. Han Fei covered his head. Forget it. I won't count on you. You just eat without working. Little Black looked at Little White as if saying that this was a guy that just ate without working. He didn't even bother to eat fish. I ate for him. Little White wagged his tail, circled the hole a few times, and then turned around and swam away. Hey, Little White, where are you going? Seeing that Little White had swum out of the pit, Han Fei hurriedly said, 9 tails, stop digging. Let's go. Han Fei followed Little White and wondered, did Little White find something? This little thing usually only swallowed spiritual energy and did everything that was beneficial to it. When there were no benefits, it would stay by Han Fei's side and act cute. This was the first time that Little White had left his side voluntarily. 10 minutes later, Han Fei followed Little White to a pit that was also dug by someone else and got into it. Han Fei wondered, are we going to dig from here? 9 tails, it's up to you now. Dig hard. When you are done, I will catch rare creatures for you and refine all your 9 tails. Dum, dum, dum. The 9-tailed mantis shrimp was like a boxer, punching the stone wall of the mine again and again. Han Fei even wondered if the mine would collapse. What if he was crushed to death? However, creatures like mantis shrimp were really good at digging. With a hammer, the stone was broken, and with a hook of its claws, a piece of stone was dug out. Han Fei followed it and picked up stones. Ruby, I don't know what it can be used for. It can be used as a pendant or something. Black iron, but it's too small to make anything. Forget it, I'll keep it. Fine iron. This mine is really strange. Why does it have everything? Half a day later, when the 9-tailed mantis shrimp had dug more than 100 meters deep, Little Black suddenly moved. He bit the stone on the side, bit by bit, and soon, a palm-sized hole was drilled out of it. There was a flash of light in the cave, and then Little Black came out with a glowing stone in its mouth. Name low-grade spirit stone introduction. Condensed from the essence of spiritual chi, contains a large amount of spiritual chi, can assist in cultivation, contains spiritual energy 9658 points inedible. Absorbable. Han Fei immediately gasped. Oh my god, a stone costs nearly 10,000 points of spiritual energy. Isn't it more valuable than spiritual fruits? Chapter 139. Han Fei strolled to the hot pot restaurant and Li Gang was shocked. Young master, you've lost weight. Han Fei's face was shaking with joy. Ha! You've seen through me. How's the effect? Am I much more handsome now? Li Gang smiled flatteringly. Of course, young master, you have always been handsome. Han Fei smiled. Okay, then I'll go to the village leader's house. When Han Fei arrived at the village leader's house, the village leader was talking to the two fishing masters who had just become fishing masters in the village. As he spoke, the village leader's eyes widened. The village leader was surprised. Han Fei, why have you lost weight? Han Fei said happily, I'm a thin man. It's natural for me to lose weight. Don't judge me. What do you mean? Oh, it's okay. I just came here for a stroll. Well, Grandpa Leader, do you have the third level of the true spirit fishing art? The village leader frowned and said to the two fishing masters who had just become fishing masters, well, you go back first and come back tomorrow. I have something to do today. When the two fishing masters left, the village leader pulled Han Fei over solemnly. Have you become a great fishing master? Han Fei was surprised. You saw through me just like that? Of course, you want the third level of the true spirit fishing art. How can I not know? Han Fei rubbed his belly. Ha! I was lucky to make a breakthrough today. Lucky? The village leader gasped. He never expected that Han Fei could become a great fishing master so quickly. A level 3 spiritual heritage was not good. Could it be that old Jiang was really a hidden master? The village leader shook his head slightly and pulled Han Fei over. Han Fei, have you ever considered changing your cultivation method? Han Fei shook his head blankly. Can I change my cultivation method? The village leader nodded. Of course, the true spirit fishing art is just a mortal level, mid-quality cultivation method, and every higher level is just a mid-quality cultivation method. However, there are some special cultivation methods that are directly high-grade or even supreme-grade cultivation methods. Don't you feel tempted? Han Fei frowned. The village leader's face lit up. Thinking that Han Fei was tempted, he hurriedly said, Of course it's in the town. Of course, there may be ultra-quality cultivation methods in the town, but ordinary people may not be able to get them. But there's definitely a chance for a high-grade cultivation technique. Han Fei pondered for a moment. It was impossible for him to change it. His void fishing art was a divine quality one. Why would he want an ultra-quality one? Grandpa Leader, please give me the third level of the true spirit fishing art. I'll keep it for now. If I get a better technique in the village, I'll have to practice the true spirit fishing art if I can't get it. The village leader sighed. You don't understand. Why are you still in the heavenly water village? Don't you want to go to the town? Han Fei held his belly out. I'm here to say goodbye to you. In the evening, Jiang Qin came back. Seeing that Han Fei had cooked a table full of dishes, she smiled. Are you going to the town? Han Fei nodded. I'm going to see how powerful the Fourth Academy is according to old Jiang. Jiang Qin paused for a moment and then nodded. Okay. With your current strength, it's barely enough for you to go to the Fourth Academy. Huh. Han Fei was stunned. What do you mean my strength is barely enough? Is the 4th Academy a devil? Then why does he Xiaoyu say it's a garbage school? Han Fei was a little suspicious. Is it the kind of school that looks shabby but is actually very powerful? Old Jiang enjoyed the meal the most. Han Fei was thinking about the 4th Academy and Jiang Qin was a little absent-minded. After the meal, old Jiang threw a letter to Han Fei. Fuck off. Han Fei picked up the letter and glanced at it. It said, "To the old bastard." Han Fei's blood froze. If I take this letter out, will I be beaten to death? Jiang Qin sent Han Fei out of the plantation. After a moment of silence on the way, she said, "Don't forget what you promised me." Han Fei said with a smile, "Of course, when I am strong enough, I will come back. I'm good at finding treasures. No matter how mysterious a place is, I may be able to find it." Jiang Qin nodded. "But just go. There is nothing worthy of your nostalgia in the Heavenly Water Village." Han Fei nodded and left without looking back. A man of indomitable spirit. When I return, I will come back. At the headquarters of the Fish Dragons, a core member meeting was held. Li Gang, who was in charge of the hot pot restaurant. Li Gan, the guardian. Li Qing, the barbecue vendor. Chen Eriu, the manager of the Fish Dragon card room. All of them sat upright and no one dared to speak. Han Fei said seriously, "I called you here today to tell you that I'm leaving for the Blue Sea Town." Although everyone had guessed it, there was still a commotion. Li Gang choked. "Young master, I can't bear to see you go." Han Fei kicked him. "Stop crying. If you can't bear to see me go, why don't you come with me?" Young master, don't you have such a big family business here? I have to take care of it for you." Everyone looked at Li Gang in disdain. How could they not know how powerful Li Gang was now? As the richest man in the Fish Dragons, he and his little Red were living like gods. Now, he didn't even go fishing. Han Fei patted the table. "Okay, enough with the nonsense. The Fish Dragons have their own principles. They are not allowed to violate the law, persecute the people, deduct the benefits of the members, and..." Han Fei gave a long speech and in the end, his aura burst out, pressing everyone present to the ground, including Li Gan. Li Gan was horrified. Great fishing master." Han Fei withdrew his aura and then said to his frightened subordinates, "Although I am no longer in the Heavenly Water Village, I have friends and teachers in the Heavenly Water Village. If anyone dares to abuse their power after I leave, I will teach them a lesson. Also, Gang Zi, send half of the monthly income of the Fish Dragons to the Blue Sea Town." Li Gang nodded quickly. "Yes, young master." Han Fei continued, "By the way, take care of my house for you. I don't want my house to be gone when I come back." "Yes, young master, I will clean it for you personally." Han Fei patted Li Gang. People go to higher places and water flows to lower places. In the Heavenly Water Village, there is only the Heavenly Water Village and you will never know how high the sky is. With that, Han Fei turned around and left, muttering, "I'm leaving." Li Gang and the others were left standing in the conference room dumbfounded. The village leader's house. Han Fei said, "Grandpa leader, I'm going to the Blue Sea Town, read 2. Chapter 140. Han Fei sat on the fishing boat, feeling very excited. Finally, he went out. The village leader sent Han Fei in person. Otherwise, ordinary villagers would have to apply step by step and pay the money to go to the Blue Sea Town. The village leader frowned. "Han Fei, are you really going to the 4th Academy? That school is actually very bad and no one goes there. It is said that it was in its heyday 30 years ago." Han Fei replied firmly, "Grandpa leader, the other 3 schools are not in the enrollment season, but the 4th Academy is the only one." The village leader continued to persuade him. "But that school has a very bad reputation. It is said that there are no teachers and several students sleep in it all day. It is said that the school's library leaks." The corner of Han Fei's mouth twitched. What kind of school is this? Why is the reputation so bad? However, despite the bad reputation, Han Fei felt that there must be some unknown secrets in this school. Otherwise, Old Jiang and Jiang Qin wouldn't have left him there. Grandpa Leader, don't worry about it. I'll stay there until the enrollment of the 3 academies next year. I don't want to live in the town and idle around every day. The village leader sighed slightly. See for yourself. After all, you have become a great fishing master. Han Fei, do you know that you are the 9th person in the history of the Heavenly Water Village to become a great fishing master at the age of 12? Han Fei smiled. I'm going to be 13 soon, and Angel Fong Zhe said that there are many great fishing masters at the age of 12 in the city. Maybe a 7 or 8-year-old child can already be a great fishing master. The village leader was speechless. Compared with them, they live in the city and you live in the countryside, okay? Han Fei's white fishing boat flew for more than 4 hours before he saw the floating island of the Blue Sea Town. Although Han Fei had been mentally prepared, he still gasped. He Xiaoyu didn't lie to him. Isn't this town too big? The point was that the Blue Sea Town was not composed of 1 floating island, but 5 floating islands. There were countless huge chains between the floating islands, and there were even clouds floating around the floating islands. From the bottom, it looked like a gigantic UFO. When he got closer, Han Fei saw water flowing down from an island like a waterfall. Han Fei asked, Grandpa Leader, is there a waterfall on the island? The village leader looked at Han Fei as if looking at a fool. Of course, there are mountains and clouds on the island. At night, the sky is full of stars and the market is hundreds of feet high. It's much better than you think. So beautiful. The village chief laughed and said, Now you know why those who are qualified to come to the island are unwilling to go back, right? It's a symbol of status, and you haven't seen the scenery on the island yet? Oh, by the way, the people on the island always look down on people from our village who go up there. We'll be ostracized and treated with hostility when we go up there. Don't make it big. I know, I am a low-key person, and didn't you say that there are few people in the 4th Academy? The village chief chuckled. You want to keep a low profile? During the resource competition, you declared war on the entire Heavenly Heart Village, and you still want to keep a low profile? I'm afraid you don't understand the meaning of the word low-key. The village leader didn't quite believe Han Fei and emphasized, the Blue Sea Town has a population of nearly 5 million. There are many geniuses and strong masters here. Don't cause trouble. Han Fei said absent-mindedly, I know. 5 million is too much, isn't it? Soon, the fishing boat floated out of the clouds, and Han Fei saw hundreds of fishing boats patrolling around this huge island. He vaguely saw peaks thousands of meters high standing on the island and several vast rivers on the island. In addition, there were towering ancient trees, towering pagodas, and many buildings that Han Fei had never seen before at the port of the Blue Sea Town. The village leader showed his identity, but the staff looked at Han Fei. What are you doing here? The village leader replied, Hey, this is a heavenly talent from our village. He came to the island to study. However, the staff waved his hand and said, It's not the enrollment season now. Go back. Come back when it's the enrollment season. Han Fei muttered in his heart, What a joke. He's just a fishing master. Why are you so arrogant? If you were in the village, I would beat you up now. The village leader smiled. He didn't come to the 3 academies to study, but to the 4th Academy of the Blue Sea Town. The 4th Academy? The staff was taken aback and then sneered. Someone actually went to the 4th Academy to study? Did he rely on his connections? Han Fei slightly released his aura. He's here to study. The staff's face changed slightly. A great fishing master? Even the staff in the town couldn't help but be surprised. A young great fishing master actually went to the 4th Academy to study? Was he hit in the head by an ironhead fish? However, because Han Fei had shown his strength, the staff didn't make things difficult for him. There were many great fishing master students in the town. But unlike Han Fei, they were all heavenly talents and most of them studied in the 3 academies. The staff handed over a wooden plate. This is a temporary pass. If you don't go to school within 15 days, you must return to the village voluntarily. Otherwise, the patrols in the sky will expel you. Han Fei frowned. Village leader, are the people in the town so arrogant? The village leader chuckled. Of course not. Don't mention it. I did it for a reason. What reason? Han Fei clenched his fists. To avenge my companions. The village leader snorted. That's called impatience. Young man, don't be impatient. An old man and a young man walked in the market outside the port, and the peddlers were endless. The things here were different, even very different. On the roadside, someone shouted, a rare armored turtle that just went to sea. Does anyone want it? It's cheap, only 80 mid-quality pearls. Spirit-chasing shrimp on sale. 40 mid-quality pearls for one. Does anyone want it? Iron fish body polishing fluid wholesale, 5 mid-quality pearls for a bottle, buy 10 bottles and get 1 free. Delicious flower oysters, 1 mid-grade spirit bead for 2, anyone interested? I'm looking for someone to explore the level 2 fishery with me. I'll reimburse all the elixir and bait expenses for 100 mid-quality pearls each time. Does anyone want it? Suddenly, a bearded man looked at Han Fei and said, Young man, I have a bull conch here. Do you want it? It'll only cost you 200 mid-quality pearls. I promise you won't suffer a loss. Han Fei waved his hand awkwardly. No thanks. I'm in a hurry. Han Fei was a little stunned. Did the people here all use mid-quality pearls? The village leader said, Don't worry. The things here can be cut in half or even lower. When you become a great fishing master, you'll know that it's not difficult to catch these things. Han Fei nodded repeatedly. But Han Fei then passed by the shops along the street. At a glance, he saw Treasure Fishing Rod shop, on which there was a big sale, 20 mid-quality pearls for a fishing rod. There was also a bait monopoly shop, on which there was a 20% discount. The village leader said, Don't look at these. The best fishing rod shops and weapon shops in the town are all in the town center. Do you see that tower? That tower is called the Linglong Tower. It sells everything you can think of. There's nothing it can't sell. Han Fei swallowed. It sounds very high-end. I'll find a chance to go there after I go to school. I'm rich now. Although these people sell things at high prices, I can throw them in the face with mid-quality pearls. Han Fei walked along the way. There were all kinds of shops and fishing masters almost everywhere. Is this the town? It's really amazing. Soon, Han Fei and the village leader came to a huge chain. The village leader explained, the 4th Academy is relatively remote. It's on the northernmost floating island. Except for the 4th Academy, there are large tracts of plantations on that island, but not many people live there. Since you've learned how to grow spiritual fruits from Old Jiang, you can walk around here. Han Fei asked, Leader, how are we going to get there? The village leader pointed to the chain and said, Walk over. This chain is so thick. The width of a single chain is dozens of meters. Are you afraid of falling? Han Fei shrugged. It's my first time here. Isn't it strange to walk on a chain? But such a thick chain shouldn't shake, right? Han Fei felt that he had to practice the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing and the indestructible body as soon as possible. It would only take him a month. Otherwise, the new students might think that he was a big fatty. After passing through the chain and the plantation, Han Fei observed along the way. The surroundings of the plantation were shabby. Wasn't it afraid that someone would steal it? Passing by some dilapidated houses, Han Fei finally saw school in front of the mountain on this floating island. Han Fei wasn't sure himself. The school's sign was hanging on the archway, and the sign read, Thug Academy? Han Fei was speechless. Thug Academy? Why does it have such a strange name? The village leader said with a black face, It's the Thug Academy. Han Fei. In an instant, Han Fei felt as if he had been hit by 10,000 points. Damn it, are you so poor? The sign is about to fall off and the words have fallen off. Can't you at least renovate it? Han Fei took a deep breath. Since he was already here, he should at least go and ask. Han Fei knocked on the doorpost of the gate and shouted, Is anyone here? Duong. Han Fei quickly dodged, only to see the sign that had been hanging down fell to the ground, raising a cloud of smoke and dust. The village leader immediately said angrily, This school is not decent. Han Fei, let's go. Read 2. That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.